Cowboys Radio Network present
Touchdown Cowboys!
Dallas Cowboys Football 2025 in crystal clear HD stereo. Today's pregame show is brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
And just like that, we're 3 hours and 15 minutes to kick off here in the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. Week 9 pregame party here for your Dallas Cowboys with the Cardinals in town. No hometown hero, Kyler Murray. It'll be Jacoby Brissett quarterbacking the Cardinals, and we are just hours away from the NFL trade deadline. How much does this game matter when it comes to actually being buyers at the deadline, as Jerry has already said? They got a deal done. It's already in the bag. Yeah. Just waiting to go ahead and announce that bad boy, make it official tomorrow. We'll see how true that is. Troy Aikman, Bryan Schottenheimer, CeeDee Lamb, and, of course, Jerry Jones, all coming up here on the pregame show. I'm Eric Chiofalo alongside the Super Bowl champion, Mr. Bryan Broaddus.
Yes, thank you, Eric. How interesting would it be today if Christy Scales all of a sudden interviews Stephen Jones? Like Jerry.
They get Jerry out of the line of fire. Jerry, no more microphones today, Jerry. You've done enough. You've said too much.
Get Jerry out of the line of fire, and all of a sudden we get Stephen Jones on that interview. So
I could see that happening.
I could absolutely see that happening today, especially with all the things that are going on right now. But, yeah, it's, there's the one thing that you kind of assured of. The Cowboys said that they were going to find ways to try and add to their team. So we interviewed Stephen Jones, we interviewed Jerry Jones. You talk to people within the organization. The way that the National Football League is right now, you're still in the hunt for some things. If you can add a player or two, make a difference, make your defense better, you got to try. I mean, you absolutely got to have to try. So we'll see. There's plenty of defensive players out there that teams are willing to put. It seems like to me that the Miami Dolphins are in a situation, with Greer now being gone as the general manager, interim GM. I'm sure you've got Stephen Ross as coming out and saying, okay, hey, you go get picks, move these players, you do what you have to do. And as a general manager, it's a very, very difficult job. You're thinking about, well, if we start getting rid of all our guys, we're for sure not going to win any games now. And they're already playing kind of poorly right now, being the Dolphins. So yeah, they seem to be the one team that's trying to push as many of their defensive players as they can. And we've already seen with Phillips going to Philadelphia, and then I think that Bradley Chubb will probably be in play. Maybe Mika Fitzpatrick will maybe be in play there. So yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen this evening. While the Dallas Cowboys and Arizona Cardinals play a game, there are going to be some teams trying to kind of position themselves, and maybe some teams haven't yet thought about, hey, we're going to be a seller, and then tomorrow morning they wake up and they're like, you know what, we need to be sellers.
Yeah, a lot of come to Jesus meetings around the NFL tonight, I would imagine, for teams trying to put plans together here, and looks like the Cowboys are looking to be buyers. Do you think the game tonight matters in terms of which direction the Cowboys go here? Because, I mean, win or lose, if you can get Max Crosby, he helps you this year, and he's a cornerstone piece for years to come. Yeah. But if you're talking about a Bradley Chubb or one of these guys that may be some level of a rental, we need your help today. You lose this game, are you less inclined to make one of those moves?
I think if you're trading, you're trading. I don't think there's any this, well, if we lose this game, I think what you're looking for right now is a player that does have some control over for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Whether you want to keep on with that or move on from that, I would like to believe that they're going to, if they trade for a guy, it's going to be somebody that has years that they can put into the 2026 and 2027 season.
Gotcha. Yeah, and whoever they do trade for, maybe it's a couple of guys, they'll have an extra week to kind of hit the ground running a little bit with the bye week.
Yeah, that's what you do. But the thing about it is, the way football is now with the Players Association, how much do you really practice? You know, there might be you come in and it's like, okay, now you have your mandatory 4 days off. So you might come in afterwards, clean things up on a Monday, and then you get the mandatory 4 days off. So how much can you really come in? Now, somebody could come in and crash course this thing,
no doubt,
and learn it, but they're not going to learn it on the field.
Yeah.
They're going to be living in a hotel. They're going to be coming over, and now some coaches have got to stay around and like crash course some things for them.
877-881-1053. What's your Cowboys confidence meter tonight? Monday Night Football. We're rocking and rolling. Bobby Belt coming up here in a little bit.
You've completely buried the lead here.
The game mantra?
Yeah, it's like
it's deadline season, Broaddus. You know what I'm saying? We gotta build. We gotta build to the game that's actually going down tonight.
Every week.
It's because I'm leaking confidence on the mantra. Okay, can I be honest about that? This is what I'm thinking. This is what I was thinking.
You should have told me that instead of I was asking you about it.
It's all good. No, because we are who we are, and this is part of the pregame show, so it was going to happen whether I'm confident in it or not.
Right.
I was going to call this the Larry the Cable Guy game, which is just simply get her done.
Get her done.
But the more I think about it, I feel like this is a keep the season alive game.
Yeah.
Because you drop this one,
all
of a sudden, man, I mean, you can afford to maybe lose one more game the rest of the way. You need to go 7-2 down the stretch.
Well,
here.
You've had some losses already to some conference, opponents. I mean,
right.
The Cardinals. I mean, excuse me. Say you lose the game tonight, the Cardinals.
Don't say that. We don't want to say that.
I know, but that's an NFC opponent. You've already lost to Carolina. You've already lost to Chicago. You've already lost to Philadelphia. I mean, you've tied Green Bay. You've got to start putting some wins together. You've got to find a way tonight to get this game done, go into your bye, trying to heal up, maybe get Overshown back. You're going to get Cooper Beebe back tonight. I think that will really help. You're playing against another one of those odd fronts, 3-4 fronts. You've had some problems against those before. So, having Cooper Beebe back. But, you need to get to the bye, get healthy, get some guys back, then go to Vegas and find a way to win that game. And then the schedule becomes kind of crazy because now you've got all these Thursday games that you're having to deal with and short week games.
Tough teams.
Yeah, it gets, and you got teams that are playing better, but, the Detroit loses at home yesterday. You see what's going on. Kansas City loses to Buffalo. That tends to happen during the season. I mean, you just got to find a way to put some games together. This team just has not done that. They just have not been. The one thing they've been consistent at is being inconsistent.
Yeah.
But
they can't stack wins.
This game's really, I think they're all important. And, I know Brad's probably listening right now, and he would laugh when you'd say, oh, it's a must-win game. But when you start to look at the big picture of things, you need to start putting some wins together. You need to start building some confidence. You need this defense to start playing better. And so overall, then you have that ability to get this thing in the playoff hunt.
Okay, so you don't think I'm being dramatic when I say keep the season alive game?
I think there's some elements to that. I really, really do. But you have when I say keep the season alive, it's like give yourself a chance. Maybe keep the season alive sounds very like if you lose it, it's very dramatic that it's all we're done. But this to me I would call this a give yourself a chance game.
Okay.
Because if you win tonight, you're feeling good going in the trade deadline. Now you're 4-4-1. So now you're thinking like, okay, we're balanced right now with the wins losses. We added a couple of pieces. Okay, now let's go.
Right.
Now let's go. So
getting healthier. You start with the Raiders, which will be a nice tune-up game post-bye.
Yeah, and the Raiders have kind of fallen apart a little bit, and you don't want to be that team to go there and then let them get healthy on you. But yeah, you need this game to go forward, I think.
All right, well, let's take a look at it. Monday Night Football, a lot of people asking about where you can watch this game or whatever because of the ESPN situation. It will be on ABC.
It will be on ABC.
So you shouldn't have a problem being able to actually watch this game tonight if you are a YouTube TVer. But like we mentioned, no Kyler Murray tonight. I guess he's going to suit up and have an opportunity.
Watch him play. Watch
It's
it.
a weird.
Watch
it's a
it all
weird
of
deal.
a sudden. Watch all of a sudden Dallas figures out some things. They're kind of slowing Jacoby Brissett down. They're getting off the field.
Tyler comes to save the day.
And then it turns into our guy like the Commanders last year. The guy
Mariota.
Marcus Mariota game.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you've got everything is going along great, and then Marcus Mariota comes in, and now everything is falling apart for you.
Yeah, I am interested. We will talk with the play-by-play voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash, coming up in the next hour, and just try and get a little bit of a feel for what the heck it is the plan is here for Kyler. It almost feels like more of a benching. Like they feel like the passing game's gotten better under Brissett for the last 2 games.
Well,
he's been a little bit hobbled, but he's clearly not so hobbled that he has to be inactive for the game. It almost feels like a little bit of a benching, like a quiet benching.
I just have this weird feeling. I have this weird feeling that Dallas is going to play defensively, going to be okay. And then all of a sudden,
Here comes Murray.
Jonathan Gannon's going to go. Now you talk about season on the line.
Yeah, this is
they've
for them.
They've got to find a way. But to me, and then all of a sudden, Jonathan Gannon gets Kyler Murray warmed up, and he's like feeling good, and now he's running around, and you're like, oh geez. But hey, let's be honest. I think the Cowboys have probably prepared for Kyler Murray in this game.
Yeah.
But do you have the players to slow him down if he turns into this Superman with the football in hand?
Yeah, Cardinals sitting at 2-5 right now. Cowboys 3.5-point favorites tonight on Monday Night Football. So let's take a look at this Cardinals offense a little bit here, Broaddus. With Jacoby Brissett now starting, how has that changed things? It seems like a little bit more under center, a little bit more play action. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. You have, I think, the real focal point is the tight end Trey McBride. That's the guy that I'm trying to figure out. How do you slow him down tonight?
Yeah, that's going to be a key. They've got some skill guys, but how many times though, Eric, have we talked about? Oh, you've got to stop the run, stop this guy. How do you play? Do you travel? This, that, and the other. And then some guy like Greg Dortch ends up with 7 catches for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It's like what, Troy Franklin?
Troy Franklin.
With the Broncos?
Yeah, we're talking about
Sutton.
Yeah, you got to stop Sutton. You can't, you can't let these guys kill you. And all of a sudden, it's some guy. Like I said, it's
wide receiver 4 is going to have a
Simi
career night.
Fehoko. All of a sudden, like I showed you guys.
Oh, revenge game.
The revenge game for
everything is in play here. Like any one of those guys on the Cardinals offense today could feel like tonight is a night where I make a national name for myself.
Oh no,
this Cowboys defense can't allow that.
And they get some award at they get the Lisa Salters game ball kind of a thing. It's like
FedEx Aaron.
Yeah,
Brown.
it's like what just happened. But you're right about Jacoby Brissett, and they do play. When you look at his snaps, it's 82 snaps from shotgun and 62 from under center.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry. I got to apologize. Apparently the ABC situation on YouTube TV is
it's just as bad?
As well. Yeah, so my apologies. So here's the deal. You get the Sling thing. You give the day pass on Sling or Fubo or whatever for like $5 or $6.
Are people chiming in?
Yeah, people are crushing me right now, and it's totally fair. I didn't realize I'm not a YouTube TV guy, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more buttoned up than that. YouTube TV's been bleeping people for years now, okay? So obviously this is probably a last straw for a lot of folks, and kudos to you. Get on the bandwagon of actually competent TV services. But my apologies. I got to own that and wear it. ABC is also blacked out inexplicably. That's insane, by the way, on YouTube TV. So, I don't know. I'm trying to help out the people here. Maybe you go to the local sports bar.
I didn't know any different because I sit there and going to watch the game and be just fine. I'm not going to worry about it, right?
Yeah, you got your perch. We know. You got the King's throne.
Yeah. Well, at least I don't have to sit next to you and watch you just consume massive amounts of food again this week.
It's a bad night to be horseradish sauce up in that press box. I'll tell you.
Are you feeling it right now?
I'm feeling it, baby.
Right, I know you are.
I'm working up an appetite tonight. It's going to be exciting, and of course, Legends Hospitality will be feeding you at a high level if you're coming out to this game. We'll see what the item of the night is. They will unveil that here shortly, and we'll break it down for you. Okay, back to Brissett, back to McBride.
Yeah. I think to me when you watch McBride, and this is where a lot of the snaps will come from the slot, how do you play him? I think that you need to even think about, does Bland on certain downs go with him? Okay, you're getting that. We talked about it when we did our show before before we got out here, that how do you manage to play against these guys, and and how do you handle when they or where they line up. And I think with Bland, you just got to get this guy to, like, when I'm talking about Brissett, you've got to get him into that 3rd and 5 to 9 range and then pressure him, bring pressure on him, because that's where he's going to struggle. He's not when he has clean pocket and time to throw and is a rhythm passer, he's going to make some good throws. But when you put pressure on him, Green Bay's got pressure. We've seen how their pressure packages are. The Colts did a really good job of pressuring this guy. So to me, how do you get pressure, but then how do you manage McBride? And I think you do it by making sure that you have guys like Bland occasionally go to his side and try and take him out on those 3rd down situations.
I'm here for it. I mean, I would absolutely be putting my best secondary piece on McBride, and if not, then you gotta absolutely double him or whatever. Because I mean, especially with Brissett in there, he's been targeting McBride at a rapid rate.
Sure has,
and he's clearly one of the best tight ends in the league. What about Marvin Harrison Jr.? How impressed are you with this dude?
I'll tell you what. I was a guy when him and Neighbors came out. People were like, and I was kind of in a way kind of nervous about talking. I think Marvin Harrison is an excellent player. I think Neighbors is a better player and receiver. And I say that because of the route running. But I've also been accused of being a homer because of Neighbors being LSU.
Well, the proof's in the pudding. Neighbors has been an absolute savage.
Neighbors, his ability, the route running, the way he goes to get the football, has been super impressive. With Harrison, it's a little bit more down the field, the crossing around. You go back and watch the Seattle game that they played, and there was the ball clanged off him. That was an interception. He didn't run the route completely across the field. Another interception. He's had some games where he hasn't been that guy that we all thought he might be coming out of Ohio State. But I still feel like, though, with the way the Cowboys have struggled with some of their coverage at corner, that this will be a challenge once again, because he is a guy that will go get the football. He's a long, tall, throw it up, and then see what happens type of guy. Mm-hmm. And he's capable of going over the top of you and making plays. And Jacoby Brissett probably throwing a more accurate ball than what you're going to get from Kyler Murray.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's been pretty clear over the last couple of games. Seems like their passing game's gotten better with Brissett. So we'll see if the Cowboys can bring a little something here defensively tonight to slow that down. All right, we're just getting started here on your Cowboys pregame show. Under 3 hours to kick off, live at AT&T Stadium, the Miller Lite West Plaza. If you're coming out, come say hello. An absolutely beautiful evening here in Arlington. Let's hear from CeeDee Lamb, one of the best in the business. CeeDee Lamb, he is the subject of today's player profile, and we'll hear from him next right here on The Fan.
and our products in a store near you. Win big by making the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys the official milk of your family table.
All right, here we go. 2 hours and 51 minutes to kick off Monday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium. Great to have you in the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt coming up here in a few minutes, and we will deal out the Meat Church menu of the day champion. So let us know what's on your Cowboys game day menu, 877-881-1053. But right now, it's time for today's player profile. The three-time Hall of Famer Chris Arnold standing by with Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee, let's talk about your new best friend. You've had great wide receivers in the past. You work with Hollywood Brown. You work with Amari Cooper. Why is George Pickens a little bit different?
He's different on the field and off the field. Obviously, different personalities. That's my guy, man. We mesh together. He's the little brother I've never had, and I feel like having him here has been a different life for him, and it's been very exciting for the both of us.
Is it part of it because you're quiet and he's a little bit more demonstrative? Is that part of it?
I feel like it's a great counterpart. Like, I'm not going to do too much talking. He's going to do all the talking. We both going to back it up, but we go two different ways about going about it. And I feel like once I see him get going enough, then I'm going to get going. So that's how I go.
Did you tell him how to behave when he became a Cowboy? Did you tell him to be the same guy? What was your advice when he got here?
I told him he definitely got to be the same guy. But as far as handling a lot of different things, we got to work on that.
Right.
And he understand that, and he knew coming in, he wanted a new identity coming here to Dallas. So he's definitely doing a great job up to this point, and I'm happy to continue to contribute.
Let's talk about another one of your friends. Another one of your friends is one of your former quarterbacks, Kyler Murray, who, by the way, has never in his whole life lost a game at AT&T. 9-0, high school, college, pro. You even won a game with him yourself. Why is he so unique in that building, or let alone period?
I say period, not so much the building, because he's been dynamic his whole life in Texas. Obviously, one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback to come out of Texas.
Yes.
He's never lost. He has the craziest record. I mean, this is home for him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like every opportunity he gets coming here is like homecoming. You know, but this year I plan on spoiling his homecoming.
There you go.
That's my guy. Love him the most, and he knows that I love him like a brother. But yeah, I hope all is well. I'm happy to hear that he's back this week, but I don't wish much success for him.
In my mind, to help you do that chore, the offense is going to need to dominate that clock a little bit. How do you think y'all can handle that? I mean, you got a nice run game. Dak's on fire. You and George are unstoppable. Is there a way to figure out how we keep Arizona off the court? Is it like Coach Adams has some plans or something that nobody knows about? You don't have to tell all the details, but it's got to be, right?
I'm not gonna go in depth with it, but I do feel like there's ways for us to expose the defense, exploit them, and then obviously continue to put up points like we want to. And with that, we just got to continue to be aggressive and not shoot ourselves in the foot on opportunities that we miss.
And finally, let's talk about you. It's a Monday night game. How does that feel different from you, the way you prepare for a game, or do you like them better? Is it a little bit more difficult? Just Monday night alone, as opposed to even a Thursday night?
Monday night, I feel like there's much more rest in between the games. Obviously, you get to watch everybody and how they perform, and then the last game of the week is obviously preferably on you, so the whole world's watching. It's one of the best games of the week, and I feel like it's going to be a great opportunity for us to step up and show the world right before our bye. So just continue to be us.
Good luck out there tonight, man.
Thank you.
CeeDee Lamb.
Thank you, CA. Thank you, CeeDee Lamb. Today's player profile brought to you by Buffalo. The creators of Buffalo bring you NFL casino games. Kick off with America's team on and off the reels with Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. All right, CeeDee Lamb, I mean, every time he talks about George Pickens, man, he just starts to glow a little bit.
Yeah,
he loves this dude.
No, absolutely.
Those guys have been incredible this year.
Yeah, and the thing about it, and you know, he's absolutely right. They both have the ability to back it up. They're not going to do, you know, if one, you know, if they need a play, they've got that ability. There's been a time around here where it was just really CeeDee Lamb and kind of hope for the best for everybody else. But now you've got a legitimate guy that you can, if CeeDee gets a little nicked up or they play coverage a little bit differently on him, well, you've got a guy like with Pickens that could play a vertical game. He could play across the field. The run after catch. I mean, he could take games over. We've seen him do that. So it's just added an element that they have not had here in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's special to watch Pickens. We know what Lamb brings to the table. He's done it for his entire career, but seeing Pickens, and especially when Lamb was out and the way he was able to still step up and be a monster and draw on the DPIs, big plays. How about the 3rd and 4th down conversion, 17 of 17? When it's 3rd and Pickens is basically what we're dealing with right now. It's incredible.
And everybody knows that he's going to run that slant. And he finds ways, and defensive backs have a hard time playing through him. He's just that, he's a long guy. He's strong. He can stand. He catches the ball in his hands. I mean, that's a big time receiver out there.
Okay, so how do you like the Cowboys' opportunity today or tonight offensively versus this Cardinals defense?
I think it's going to be a little tough. I don't think it's going to be as. And I know the Dallas Cowboys here at AT&T Stadium have put up 40 points a game. I think this is going to be a little bit different from the attacks that we've seen before. I think with the defense in way they play their 3-man line, their linebackers do a really good job of getting to the football. Their secondary, I know that Will Johnson is a rookie out of Michigan. There were some questions. I know if you followed the draft show with us on DallasCowboys.com or on 105.3 The Fan, I had some questions about Will Johnson and his ability to run. And he never got a 40-yard dash time. But you know what? He plays in the zone defense. This is a team that plays a lot of zone coverage. And so he looks very comfortable with doing that. But he's got the ability to go make plays. So they've got a good secondary. You're going to have to worry about Josh Sweat as a rusher. So, yeah, there's a lot of things about this Arizona Cardinal defense. I don't think that's been the issues. I think that the Arizona offense, and they've had a lot of injuries too. Losing their running backs, I think, really losing James Conner really has hurt this team.
Yeah, they lose Conner, they lose Trey Benson, and then of course they lose their guy Clayton Adams, who's now here.
Right.
And so the rushing attack has been nowhere close to what we've seen, where the Cardinals have been a top 3 to 5 rushing attack in the NFL for the last few years, and this year they just can't seem to get it going. Yeah. So, probably have a good opportunity tonight versus the Cowboys' run defense, but just what we've seen to this point, they haven't really been able to run the ball that well. But defensively, it's interesting to hear you say that this could be a struggle for the Cowboys trying to move the ball, because when you look at there's not a ton of numbers that reflect overly well for the Cardinals defense. But watching, I know they limit the big plays.
Yeah.
And that's just obviously by design. 75% zone coverage, cover 4 on a league high 30% of their snaps.
Right.
So they're trying to make you methodically work your way down the field.
Exactly right.
And so we'll see if the Cowboys, who obviously have been awesome when it comes to the explosives in the passing game.
This secondary has given up 8 touchdowns. And that's just like one a game. If you think about how they played, they've got 4 interceptions. They've got 35 pass defense. They're going to make it a challenge for you to have to try to run routes against these guys. I think it's going to be – I just kind of have a feeling that when you look at Gannon and the way that they teach their defense and stuff, they're going to play that single high look. You mentioned they're going to play a little bit of that cover 4. They don't want to give up big plays. But they do a really good job of their corners and their safeties of getting to the football. So I just don't think it's going to be as easy and clean as, say, it was against the Commanders last time we played. Last time we played here.
Right. And in 3 games here at AT&T Stadium, Dak Prescott, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's completing 74% of his passes for almost 8 yards per attempt. That's dominant level MVP, nasty style football here at home. Arizona 25th in pressure rate. Josh Sweat's really the guy, right?
He's the guy.
That's the guy that you got to double. Big respect to Calais Campbell, the old man, still getting it done, especially in the run game. But when it comes to the pass rush, Josh Sweat, do they move him around? How do they utilize him?
They're going to move him around a little bit, and I have a feeling that you're going to see it probably over because if you go back and watch Philadelphia back in the day with Sweat playing against Steele, that was a little bit of a problem.
Yeah,
and so I could very well see a little bit of a confidence. They might have to help Steele in this football game. Guyton did a pretty nice job against the Broncos. Last week in his matchup, I know there was the pressure numbers were more inside than they were on the edge. But I could see Josh Sweat rushing over Steele and seeing if in fact he's up to snuff. But you're going to get 4-man rush. I just wonder.
Yeah, they don't want to blitz.
They don't want to blitz, but I wonder if in fact that you're going to see maybe they'll play a little out of character. I think Dallas's defense has got to play a little out of character tonight too. With the way bringing pressure on Jacoby Brissett. Yeah,
I mean that's something interesting too with the Cardinals coming off the bye week. What type of tendency breakers do they have? What type of added wrinkles do they have for you? Because, being as so much of a zone team, Dak, second in the NFL with passer rating against zone coverage, completing a league-high 78% of his passes with 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's a much lesser quarterback this season versus man coverage.
Right.
So you wonder, would you sprinkle some of that in if you're the Cardinals tonight? It would only make sense unless you just don't believe in your guys being able to cover. It's a tough ask. It's not like you're playing the Commanders a couple of weeks ago who had a bunch of jobbers at receiver.
Right.
You got Lamb and Pickens to deal with, and then you sprinkle in Turpin and Ferguson and some of those guys. So, but especially against cover 4, Dak Prescott 9 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
So I do, like, on paper, I like the matchup, but it seems like they're probably going to have a little something in store here that I'm not anticipating. Going to make you work for it a little bit more.
I think it's going to be a little tougher than what we've seen with some of these games that have been played here at AT&T. I think, and Dallas is on a tremendous roll. I just feel like, though, I really do like Jonathan Gannon as a coordinator.
Yeah.
I think if anybody will come up with a plan to try and hold Dak down, that's got to be line one for them. How do we affect Dak Prescott in this game? And heck, it might be with their offense. It might be just
scoring points.
Just score points, yeah.
Well, what about the run defense for Arizona? Does Javonte Williams have a good opportunity tonight?
Yeah, it's 4.2 yards a carry. And
that's not very. That's probably 25th in the league.
Yeah, and that's not. To me, that's where you always say, okay, well, last week against Denver it was, or Carolina. Oh, inside run game not good, outside run game better. This defense across the front though does not allow those big runs. I was looking up the other day just to make sure about this though. When you look at the Cardinals. 4.2 yards a carry, 41% success rate when it comes to the run. They like the outside runs of 15 yards plus, that kind of thing. Denver's first in the league going into yesterday with only 8. They've only allowed 8 of those big runs on the edges. The Cardinals have allowed only 15. So they're right there, with some of the top teams in the league when it comes to allowing those outside runs.
Okay, so maybe an inside zone run type opportunity here for Javonte Williams.
Well, they got to prove that they could block this. They got to prove that they could block those defensive tackles. And if you get, and all of a sudden, if it turns into with Cooper Beebe being back, how?
Yeah, thank God for that.
Is he able to? And Cooper Beebe, I think, could have played last week. But here we are, Cooper Beebe, with the inside, with those big inside guys. You have some. If you're watching tape, watch the Denver tape, watch the Carolina tape. You have an idea of how to affect that inside game.
Okay, we are 2 hours and 38 minutes to kick off Monday Night Football, Cowboys Cardinals Week 9 here at AT&T Stadium. Come see us if you're coming to the game tonight, Miller Lite West Plaza. Can anybody at 877-881-1053 challenge Robert in Carrollton for the Meat Church menu of the day champion? 877-881-1053. And we go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt, live from AT&T Stadium, next right here on The Fan.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
after season. My other suggestion is to give them a rack of smoked ribs, but a Yeti will last longer. Shop Yeti.com for custom Cowboys gear.
All right, we're just over 2.5 hours to kick off Monday Night Football. Cowboys and Cardinals here at AT&T Stadium, getting set to go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt. But wanted to remind you, whether you're a backyard griller, Cowboys tailgater, or a Pitmaster Pro, Meat Church has everything you need. Visit meatchurch.com, your ultimate destination for the finest rubs, seasonings, and barbecue supplies. Matt Pittman and Meat Church, the official Pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. Babe Laufenberg will join us at the top of the hour. Broaddus, we got to crown the Meat Church Menu of the Day champion here. And it's always Robert in Carrollton who's coming in strong. How about Robert, man? Maybe I shouldn't blast him like this.
Yeah.
But he let us know on record, called in sick today just to cook these delicious pork ribs. My guy.
There we go.
Still on the smoker, seasoned with pork honey. Got a nice barbecue sauce, hot honey. And he'll be putting on with a little brown sugar and wrap about 45 minutes. Smells amazing. Fried potatoes marinated in onion soup mix. He's saying he's hoping it's good. That's Robert in Carrollton.
He's hoping. So is he trying a recipe he hasn't tried before?
It seems that way. He took the day off of work to try something new.
As you would say, he's leaking confidence right now.
It sounds like he is a little bit. Now, he's going toe-to-toe with our guy John and Wiley in the 972.
Pirate.
Jalapeno stuffed with cream cheese and candied bacon, wrapped and smoked.
Okay.
So he's kind of just
that
keeping
sounds like a just a pregame little meal.
The old Texas Twinkies, just snacking. I mean, John might be watching the game by himself. We can't have this whole spread. You know, Robert in Carrollton's feeding families. You know, he's feeding communities.
Yeah.
He's doing block parties for Cowboys games.
Yeah, he's taking days off of work.
Yeah, punting on the day's work.
He's punting on days' work to try something he's probably never tried before.
I dig that. I respect that. You know, get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
It sounds very much like something you would do.
Well, what do you think? Well, I mean, you're the chef. You're the chef expert here.
Oh, you know,
what do you like about the fried potatoes marinated in the onion soup mix?
I tell you, he always does come with a pretty nice spread. The thing that I would say is I'm a little bit worried about he's leaking confidence about these ribs. And you can mess ribs up. You can make them you can make them too chewy.
You don't skip out on a day's work to make crap ribs, though.
Yeah,
right?
but I feel like if you're going to skip out on work, kind of go with something you maybe would know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think he knows the ribs. I mean, what would you do right now? I could put basically Texas Twinkies in front of you, or I can put the ribs with the fried potatoes.
I trust he's going to. Now he's trying to sell the fried potatoes because the ribs might be ass. Okay, so let's make that for sure. My man, he's very confident, and he's like, I hope they're good.
Yeah, he's hoping for the best.
He's
tonight.
hoping. So you know what? He might be ordering like a pizza here game time. So,
well, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. If you fumble far at the menu, all of a sudden you dial up 1-800-PIZZA.
I think he's in panic mode right now.
All right. Well, who's your vote? Who's your champ?
I'll take the ribs, even though I think I'll take the ribs just because of the fact that I think they'll get him right. But I think it's just a little scary that for 9 weeks he's been a guy.
Yeah.
He's been on that pedestal
like
of
all pros.
He's been that
season.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden they figured out Vic Fangio has shown up.
I think it's
and he's thrown some pit problems at him, and he can't react.
He's throwing a junk defense at him.
He's throwing a junk.
That clog and cover can get you, man.
He left the membrane on the ribs, and now it's a little too chewy. You know.
He notes. He's hoping the potatoes are good. He knows the ribs are going to be heavenly.
Okay.
So
you read it the other way.
He's clarifying.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, Robert, you win again, brother, and we appreciate the entry from John and Wiley. Now we throw it into the Brad Sham radio booth inside the Star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt, who is always on time. Bob, happy Monday Night Football to you, brother.
Hello, how are you guys?
We're great. The Miller Lite West Plaza is, the beer's flowing like wine. It's a beautiful, beautiful temperature, and seeing a fair amount of Cardinals fans, but more Cowboys fans. So we're off to a good start, man. How you feeling about this game tonight? Broaddus is trying to convince me that the Cowboys are going to score 28 points tonight. He doesn't think they're going to touch 30. They've been swimming in the 40s here at AT&T Stadium all season. Okay, so who's nuts? Me or Broaddus?
I think that 40 is not going to happen tonight. I picked 31 for them to score tonight, so I'm closer to Broaddus because to me it's just Arizona plays a quarters coverage that just says we're not going to get beaten deep, and we're going to make you try to go 10 to 13 plays to move down the field to get your points. So they'll give you some stuff in front of them, but they are not going to just let you attack them down the field. And so I just think naturally kind of a more methodical pace today, and that'll lead to some fewer points.
I'll tell you
now,
what,
let me ask you this, though.
Eric's about to throw you that Dak is a 120% passer against cover 4.
Have they played Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens at AT&T Stadium this year? I mean, that's the follow-up. Have they done that?
No, but quarters coverage generally is meant to do exactly what it does for the Cardinals.
Well, then, gosh dang it, we need to be doing that for the Cowboys.
Man, if they knew where they were supposed to be standing, I think they would, Eric. I think that a lot of times they're supposed to be in looks like that, and they just are not where they're supposed to be. And that's been the problem all year, is that if your communication is bad, you're going to have instances like that. That's exactly what, not cover 4 necessarily, it's mainly cover 3, cover 2, but that's exactly what the Matt Eberflus scheme is meant to do, is that you're supposed to keep things in front of you. And it's supposed to be a little bend but don't break. And when guys just don't know where they're supposed to be because something shifts pre-snap, well, now you get all the breaking.
Tough sledding. Bobby Belt, Inside the Star, with us here on your Cowboys.
You feel better about
show.
that question you just asked?
Yeah, I feel better. I appreciate that, Bob. I needed that because...
But he's going to remind us, Bob, when they line up and it's 48.
Well, I think you guys will be happy about that. You'll be happy to be wrong.
Absolutely. I'll be happy with a 48-45 game. I mean, what the heck?
Well, what do you think about this Cardinals offense without Kyler Murray? Insert Jacoby Brissett, and how are they going to go about beating us? I'm obviously worried about the tight end McBride.
Yeah, Trey McBride is definitely a threat for them, and Jacoby Brissett has played well. I don't think he's been all-world or anything, but he's made their passing game better, and you've seen some stuff with him throwing in rhythm, throwing in time, and having some success for them the last few weeks. So I think it's a game where I believe Dallas is going to win this game, but it's certainly not a game where Arizona isn't capable of beating you tonight.
Sure.
And so I think that Jacoby Brissett can definitely do some things to challenge them and some of the things that they've had issues with in terms of their communication. Now, luckily, some of the stuff that's occurred with communication with them is somebody goes in motion, it changes responsibilities before the snap, and guys aren't communicating that properly, and Arizona doesn't move a lot. There's not as much motion as compared to some other offenses, so hopefully that's smoothed out a little bit. But, Trey McBride's going to be a big threat for you tonight. Marvin Harrison Jr. is somebody who can hurt you, even if he hasn't quite taken a Malik Neighbors step yet. But I think that this is definitely a passing game that if Jacoby Brissett is able to drop back, see everything cleanly, you don't generate any pressure, he can hurt you.
Bobby, this is I think Donovan Ezeraku is getting the Lisa Salters post-game game ball. So I'm going to say this is going to be Jonah Williams is going to struggle against Donovan Ezeraku tonight. Would you like to jump on the bandwagon with me on this one?
I mean, I'm all about that if we can consistently get him across from Jonah Williams would be the thing. So, yeah.
Are you saying we're not capable of communication nor lining up where we need to line up?
I'll be interested to see how they try to line guys up because I don't know that they would necessarily have him on that side all the time. It's just the thing is that. But when you're watching, I think that you're 100% right. That's the matchup to take advantage of. He doesn't have any sacks yet, but Donovan Ezeraku really is playing well. And he's taken a lot of steps that I think every single week you watch him, incrementally, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. To me, he is one of the big positives you have on defense because every single week I feel like I'm seeing him improve his play and get closer to the player that they think he could be. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to look at it and go, oh, look, he finished with a flurry of sacks at the end of the season. Now he's got 5 or something like that. And so it'd be a good night to start it tonight, and getting him across from Jonah Williams would help.
Bobby, what do you make of Jerry Jones, Sirius XM Radio today with Stephen A. Smith talking about a trade's already been done and it'll be made official tomorrow? Other trades in the works here. I mean, what the heck do we make of this?
Yeah, I think that if you try to read tea leaves and just look at, okay, what makes the most sense? So pass rusher would make a lot of sense, I think. But last Tuesday when Jerry Jones was on 105 through the Fan, he had said that, it was very clear that he came out of those meetings they had on Monday with coaches and thought our biggest problem on defense right now is our linebackers. And so if you start kind of surveying the linebackers that are available and who's been talked about, I think those are possibilities. I think edge rushers are possibilities. Look, if a certain 5-time Pro Bowl safety were made available, perhaps from the state of Florida, I would not be opposed to kicking the tires on that, because I really think a really strong communicating safety that can change the way that you do your packages would be a big help for this defense.
Bobby, I will take Quincy Williams over, I think, Wilson, if you ask me, just looking at the two on tape right now. Are those the main linebackers we could be talking about right now?
Yeah, I think so, and I think either one of those, I mean, we can talk about which one we prefer here or there. I'll tell you this, I think either one of them plays better than a lot of the linebacker play that you've gotten this year, and I think instantly you're improved if you have either one of them. I mean, just flat out, Kenneth Murray's not been good enough this year, and he's somebody who, I was talking about this with somebody earlier today. Kenneth Murray is, I believe, the only player that Bryan Schottenheimer has identified in a post-game press conference as being responsible for a bust in coverage. He typically doesn't do that. But, I mean, I think they've had frustrations there for sure, and they need to be better there. They need to get better play out of the linebackers, and either one of those players, I think, would help you.
It's Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan. All right, back to the game tonight. How do you see this Cardinals rushing attack? I mean, is that something where this is going to be a get-right game for them? Because it doesn't seem like they've been able to run the ball that well.
For which rushing attack? You're talking about running the ball or pass rushing?
Cardinals running the ball.
The Cardinals
running the ball.
Yeah, Cardinals running the football.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's something where if their blockers, and I know Brian's talked about this week, it was something you can see on tape, they still run a lot of the same concepts that Clayton Adams did there. And you can see them trying to execute it, it's just they're not executing it as at high of a level. The biggest thing to me is just what defense are the Cowboys going to put out there in terms of if it's the defense that was on the field for the R.J. Harvey touchdown where there's about 4 guys who don't look like they want to get off of blocks and make a play, yeah, this will be a get-right game for Arizona. If they are able to consistently be where they're supposed to be, Arizona's not necessarily a running game that scares me a whole lot. And so I think that their success rate, you look at some of their efficiency, it hasn't been there for Arizona this year. And a lot of that, again, you got to remember, is Kyler Murray is a running quarterback. That helps some of their efficiency there, too. And he's been out a couple of games. But I feel like this will be a get-right game if you have some of the effort that you had against Denver, which I don't know if that effort and physicality was where it needed to be.
Thanks for the time, Bob. You're the man. I'll see you up there.
Love you all.
Love you more. There he goes, Cowboys insider Bobby Belt here on the Cowboys pregame show. Now under 2 hours and 20 minutes to kick off Monday Night Football. Cowboys and Cardinals will have Troy Aikman at 6 o'clock. But let's stay in the booth right there and chop it up with Babe Laufenberg next right here on The Fan.
Whether you're getting ready to purchase a home, setting up a college fund for your kids, or
This is the Dallas Cowboys pregame show, brought to you by
Bell Nunnally. Behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy. The official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods. Get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
All right, we're under 2 hours and 15 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Cardinals. Let's go into the radio booth and have a football conversation with our buddy Babe Laufenberg. Babe, happy game night, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, ready to roll. It's funny, just one day later, obviously from a Sunday to a Monday, it feels like it's been 2 weeks since they've played, doesn't it? Just that extra day.
Makes all the difference in the world. It really does. We got fresh legs, and we're prepared for a potential overtime extravaganza once again here at AT&T Stadium, Babe.
Hey, and in 2 weeks, we will be able to say, gosh, it feels like it's been 2 weeks since we played. And you're going to say, yeah, because it has been 2 weeks. They had a bye.
Well, before we get there, Babe, let's address what's at hand tonight. No Kyler Murray, and it's Jacoby Brissett. What have you seen from him?
You know, he looked good in the two tapes that I have seen, the two games that he has played this year. You know, there's a little brouhaha working about, do they replace Murray with Brissett out in Arizona? Of course, that happens, I guess, in every city where you're not winning with the quarterbacks. But, no, he's performed very well. One interception through the two games. He's more of that classic pocket passer, you know, big, strong guy. He runs like Dak. He's going to run if he has to, but there's no designed runs for him. Kind of lumbers. But if it's 3rd and 5 and it opens up, he will go and run and get the first down. But he's accurate with the ball. And to me, he's one of those guys, too. All his playing time have been, for the most part, in bad situations, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a starter in Cleveland when Deshaun Watson was suspended, so he starts out there. Well, nobody's going to have success there. So, you know, he takes over this team, and you know, it's not a great football team. They're 2-5. We know all about how close they have played games, but you know, it hasn't been a winning team or organization for a number of years.
Hey, Babe, okay, this is the game plan. We're always going to sit there and talk about, we got to stop Marvin Harrison, and we got to stop, we got to stop the tight end there, McBride. We probably need to stop, like, a Greg Dorsch tonight, because it seems like to me, every time we have an idea of, like, this guy is going to, you know, those number one receivers, you know, are going to kill the Cowboys, it's always somebody in the shadows that ends up having these big games against Dallas.
You know, and it could be, obviously, Harrison on the outside, he's a priority because he can go deep on you. But,
right,
yeah, Trey McBride is the guy that kind of, I don't want to say makes their offense go, but he's the guy they look to. And, man, what a stud. And it's funny, unless you've had him on your fantasy team, people probably don't know how good this guy is or have seen him. And I'll raise my hand to that as well, because we don't see Arizona on a Sunday night game or on a Monday night game or any of the primetime games. Arizona's not on him. But, man, is he good. Second round pick and caught 111 balls last year. And, man, you watch him. And the Cowboys are going to have to put at least a safety on him. I mean, it won't be a situation where they're going to get a linebacker matched up on him in man, or it shouldn't be.
Would you consider putting Bland on him in some situations? If Bland is going to play in the slot, just try and give them a little bit different look with Bland going with him? Maybe swing
kind of not against it, but by the same token, if I put Bland inside on the tight end, who's going to go out? I've got Bridges on the outside with Marvin Harrison Jr., and so that's probably not going to work.
Well, the thing about it is, though, when you look at it's Kyler Murray was the one throwing the ball to Harrison all the time. Harrison hasn't gotten as many targets as when Jacoby Brissett's been in there.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't want to say small sample size, but I don't think Jacoby Brissett's going to say, you know, I'm not going to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison here. But now, clearly the numbers have been, you know, up for Trey McBride when Brissett has been in there. But as we all know, hey, Ferguson got shut out last week, right?
Sure.
So,
those numbers
that numbers kind of go up and down.
All right, by the way, Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan, but Jeremy Fowler of ESPN just reported that Kyler Murray is actually not expected to play at all tonight. Jonathan Gannon said the team would wait until closer to game time to see if Murray could still have a role in the game, but that is not going to be the plan. So the fear of Kyler coming in and putting the cape on, we can put those
Marcus Mariota game,
to rest.
Well, the interesting thing about that was if he was going to suit up and you had a little plan for him, I mean, it's a foot injury, so he can't run is my assumption, or he'd be playing. And if he can't run, I don't want to put a 5'9" quarterback in there to throw the ball on third down. So I never quite figured out what all that meant coming out of there. And obviously we're going to have the inactives here in about 30, 45 minutes, and we'll find out if he's even active.
Well, it's Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. Would love to get your thoughts on Dak, the way he's playing right now, Babe, and in general, why is there such a discrepancy between this team, especially offensively, at home compared to on the road?
Yeah, it's funny because last year they were one of 3 teams that had a winning record on the road but a losing record at home. And one of the other ones was Seattle, where we all know it's impossible to play in Seattle. Well, Seattle was 7-1 on the road last year, but they had a losing record in Seattle. But you go back a couple of years, and Cowboys had won 16 in a row at home. So I think that's one of those things, too, where it just kind of goes up and down. And, one year you're good on the road and bad at home, and the next year it flips. But they clearly, I mean, they're averaging 40 points a game at home. They've had 3 40-point games this season. And I'll give you a little context for that. Atlanta has not had a 40-point game in 80 games. They've gone 3.5 years without scoring 40. And the Cowboys, it seems like, 1, they're doing it at will, and 2, they need to score 40 to win games. But and watching this game here, too, neither team has got a pass rush. So it's going to be a lot of 7-on-7 going out there today.
Babe, you mentioned about, we talked about McBride, and you said about Ferguson last week, Denver taking that away from him. How does Dallas find a way to get him back going again then?
Throw him the ball.
Pretty simple, huh?
No, Brad and I always kid about, hey, how do you get this guy the ball? Well, you hand it to him or you throw it to whoever that guy is.
Sure.
But the funny thing about Ferguson, and trust me, I love him. He's a solid guy. He's a solid tight end, all the above. If you go back on his catches, 30 of them have been behind the line of scrimmage or screens or dumps or shallow crossers. So this isn't a Jason Witten going downfield, catching those kind of passes, or like McBride does,
Right.
I mean, he's averaging 6.5 yards a reception. So the notion that they kind of took him away, they didn't get him any dumps, didn't get him screens, and that's what he's been catching for the most part. It has not been downfield throws. So he'll, again, those things are cyclical. 1 minute you don't have a catch, next minute you come back and you have 7 or 8. So it doesn't concern me. Let me just say that.
Babe, we've heard a lot about Bryan Schottenheimer going into the defensive meetings and trying to help fix the problems with this defense right now. What do you make of that? How often does that happen from your time playing, where an offensive-minded head coach is having to go over and spend some time trying to keep the defense afloat?
Well, if you have a good defense, it doesn't happen at all.
Yeah.
You say, and the defensive coordinator says, hey, we got the number 1 defense in the league. Stay out of my room. But, hey, if I owned a business and for whatever reason, I'm making pizzas and suddenly we're not selling many pizzas, I'm going to go back and try to find out why aren't we selling pizzas like we were. And I have no issue, and I honestly don't think Matt Eberflus has an issue. I will guarantee you he went into offensive meeting rooms last year. I want to be at least – I want to be kept abreast of what we're doing, how it's being communicated to the team. So we all know about the communication issues on defense once they get on the field. Well, are we communicating it properly in meetings? And I honestly, I did not have an issue with him doing that. He talked about how Pete Carroll, who's a defensive guy, would jump into his offensive meetings.
Yeah.
And he hated it, So I think as head coach, you say, well, I don't care if they like it or not. I'm going to go in. I'm going to make sure they're doing the things I want them to do. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be obviously calling defensive signals or installing things, but I think it can be beneficial. And I'll go back. I'll never forget. I was talking to Jason Garrett, and he was the offensive coordinator here at the time. Wade Phillips was the head coach, and he went in the offseason, whatever. Drew up a motion, showed him something with a shift, and Wade Phillips said, Jason thought, oh, this is really good stuff here. And Wade Phillips kind of said, it doesn't do anything to us. That doesn't bother us. So offensively, you draw things up and you say, wow, this will get them. And defensively, they kind of smile at you. And I think that works, where you go into that defensive meeting room as an offensive coordinator and say, hey, here's why they're gashing you. I would call this. I'd be doing this against you. So I always say, I was on the offensive side of things, right? But you got to know defense to know offense. So you don't learn offense in a bubble. And conversely, you don't learn defense in a bubble. It's great to be sitting in your room and drawing up these different diagrams, both sides of the ball. But now how does it work? How do I attack this defense? So I think that's really a major component of football. I really do.
It's Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. All right, with the deadline coming up tomorrow, if Babe Laufenberg had his choice, you get to pick a position that the Cowboys could trade for. What would that position be?
Boy, that's difficult because, honestly, as you all know, they have so many holes to fill right now.
So many.
Their linebacker play is substandard, let's say that. There's really not help coming on the way. I don't know how you look at Overshown, but you always want a pass rusher in my mind. So again, I'm like that guy that has $100,000 to buy a house, and I say, hey, I want a pool, I want a jacuzzi, I want a wet bar, I want 4 bedrooms, and they're like, yeah, well, that's great. You can't have it. You got $100,000. We can get you 2-bedroom with one bath. But yeah, I guess in answer to your question, this team needs a linebacker.
Okay.
And then I'm always in the market for a pass rusher.
Yes.
Now, as you know, teams don't give those guys up. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Jerry's doing some talking today, so we'll see what he's got up his sleeve here. Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. So you got Troy Aikman in town. Did you guys chop it up? Did you guys have a little 8-beer situation before the game today? What's the deal? You coming in on a little margarita buzz tonight, Babe? What's the plan?
Well, he wanted to, but I had to inform him, Troy, unlike you, I don't drink before the game, okay? And I don't drink during it, to answer your next question. No, actually, I did the USC-Nebraska game Saturday night. So I was in Lincoln, Nebraska Saturday. Great environment. I mean, honestly, you guys have been there. You can't beat the college environment for fans, and especially Nebraska. They had their blackout night, much the same way that Penn State has their whiteout. And unfortunately for Nebraska fans, they lost, but it was fun game to do, fun game to call. What wasn't fun was the 2:00 arrival back to your hotel in Omaha, and then the 5 a.m. flight.
Ooh, that's when you just go straight to the airport.
Yeah, you think about it, but I thought I'm going to get a couple hours in.
Yeah.
Well, what about your crazy Babe Laufenberg Halloween festivities on Friday night? Did you do some dressing up? I hope at least, Babe, that you're a king-size candy bar guy when it comes to dishing it out to the kiddos.
Well, I would be if I were here, but I had to fly to Omaha on Friday, so I did not. I did text both my neighbors, though I will tell you, to either side, okay, the Sharps and the Ratliffs, and said, hey, listen, I won't be there, so I'm going to have that dark house. And I remember, as a kid, when you thought they were avoiding you, and you're like, okay, that guy is in there, or that lady's in there. They're just shutting the lights off, so don't have to give me candy. So I said, don't let him egg my house, okay? Keep it on my house.
I love it. Well, Babe, we appreciate the time as always, my man, and have a great call. We'll be listening.
Okay, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. There he goes, Babe Laufenberg with us here on The Fan. And Tolos, keep in mind, Reliant is proud to power the home of the Dallas Cowboys and the homes of Cowboys fans across Texas. Reliant, the official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get with Behind Enemy Lines, voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash, coming up here in a few minutes. I'm trying to decide if I want to ask him about his kicker jinx that he pulled off over the weekend.
He would probably like that. We've had Dave on before. He's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's a fun dude, and he does a bunch of college football and things like that.
Football, yeah.
Yeah, he's all over the place. And there was a kicker. It was Cincinnati's kicker 11 of 11, 22 straight made. Last time he missed a field goal was when he was at Michigan State 4 years ago, 41-yard attempt, no good. That's how it went from Dave Pash calling some college football games. But he's the voice of the Cardinals. We just got news that Kyler Murray, though we thought he was going to be active tonight, suited up, and play some level of a role in the Cardinals offense. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN just went ahead and nuked that, and I guess the foot is still giving him enough problems to keep him inactive tonight. We'll get the full scoop from Christy Scales coming up here in just a little bit, but right now we are sitting just under now 2 hours to kick off Monday Night Football. Cowboys and Cardinals live at AT&T Stadium, Miller Lite West Plaza. Come say hello if you're coming to the game. And we go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash, next right here on The Fan.
Hey, y'all. Matt Pittman of Meat Church here.
Arrow's wide range of mouthwatering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
This is the ball game now, folks. No penalties on defense. 27-22 Arizona. 33 seconds left in the game. 4th and 15 for the Panthers at the Cardinal 38-yard line. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Bryce Young in shotgun. The Cardinals rush 4. Young back to pass. Pressure in Young's face. He's hit. He's sacked. It's Calais Campbell who ends the game in his first game back at State Farm Stadium, wearing all red. Calais the hero, and this game finally will come to an end.
It's time to go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash, here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan, as we are just over an hour and 50 minutes to kick off Monday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium. Dave, thanks so much for the time, man. How you doing?
You got it. Good. What's going on?
Oh, doing great, man. Gosh, how about those pipes, Broaddus? Are you kidding me? Just blowing through the speakers. Just absolutely beautiful, Dave. We appreciate the time, man. So we don't get to watch our guy Kyler Murray tonight, which we're not too upset about because he's absolutely dominant here at AT&T Stadium. But with Jacoby Brissett, how does the offense change with Brissett at the quarterback spot?
Well, the offense has been better with Brissett at quarterback the last 2 games. So it's similar to what you get with Kyler in terms of what they're going to run. But Brissett he's better from the pocket, and that's kind of been the difference. The passing game has been better. The offense has had more flow. You lose a little bit of the running, but Brissett can run. He's not Kyler, obviously, but in terms of the passing game, the offense has been at its best the last couple of weeks.
Hey, Dave, what can you tell us, though, about Arizona's running game? Because that's the one thing. I know with no Connor, no Benson, they a little bit, maybe some struggles there, but we're kind of trying to figure out, though, with Bam Knight, how is this Arizona running game going to materialize?
Well, it has to be better. They have not run the ball well this year, obviously losing James Conner hurt, but you guys, I'm sure, have talked a lot about Clayton Adams. I'm not sure how much of a difference he made last year for the team, but for whatever reason, the offensive line is nowhere as good as it was last year. At least it's not playing as well as it did last year, and I'm not sure if that's the O-line coach. I'm not sure if that's the system or just guys getting a little bit older. And no Will Hernandez. Then he came back, and now I think Isaiah Adams might be back, so you've had some issues there trying to find your right guard. Jonah Williams has not played well at right tackle. And, when you're struggling to throw the ball, it's hard to have a run game. And you got to have a run game to be able to throw the ball. The offense has been up and down. There's been no consistency. They've had trouble finishing games. And usually, if you can run the ball well, you can close out a game. And the Cardinals can't. And I know you're -1 in point differential. To be 2-5 with a -1 point differential is incredible. It just means you have not been able to score late. And that's been the issue. And I think they'll find a way at some point here to get the ground attack going. And maybe tonight.
Voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash, with us here on The Fan. Yeah, so we got your guy Clayton Adams here now, and he's been sort of a godsend for us here with our rushing attack. Did it feel like a big loss when he made the move in the offseason?
No, I that's why I was saying I'm not sure it's him. I think some of it's age with the O-line. Some of it could be the system, guys getting used to it, or just guys played better last year than they did this year. I'm not sure. I don't think there was this big uproar that he was leaving to come to Dallas to be the offensive coordinator. I think he's very well respected. I'm not taking anything away from him as a coach, but I don't think that people in Arizona, it might get talked about, but I think behind the scenes people feel like he was a good coach, but it's a loss that they could overcome.
Dave, I asked you about the Arizona rushing attack. Dallas running the ball very well, but Arizona inside, and that's kind of been Dallas's kryptonite a little bit these last several weeks, whether it's the Carolina game or the Bronco game. They've had problems getting push inside. Arizona seems very equipped to handle your inside running game.
Yeah, and what I'm curious about defensively for the Cardinals is with Walter Nolan playing probably a lot of snaps tonight, how does that look on the D-line? Obviously, your defensive line looks different with no Micah Parsons, but right. I still feel like you have a good player up front that you got in that deal. The Cardinals are still kind of searching. Calais Campbell's been their best D lineman. That really shouldn't be the case. Calais is almost 40. And nothing against him, but he shouldn't be playing as much as he's playing. It's kind of crazy that at that position he's still going and still playing the number of snaps that he is.
Yeah.
At some point he's going to wear down. So Walter Nolan being back, I think, is a big deal for the Cardinals' defensive line in terms of trying to stop your guys' run game.
How about Josh Sweat, the big offseason addition on the edge there? How has he been as just a pass rusher?
Much better in the first half than the second half. And some of that comes down to he needs help. You look at that Philly defense, he had studs everywhere. And the Cardinals don't have that. They don't have a Jalen Carter. They're hoping that Walter Nolan can be that, and that certainly would take some pressure off Josh Sweat because you look at his career, he's never really been a guy that's just relentless every single down throughout the game, and also a guy that's going to be great against the run. That's just not him, but the Cardinals knew that coming in. So I think he wears down as the game goes on. You don't see the pressures in the fourth quarter that you see in the first half. And if they can get healthier, that will help him excel. But the numbers are good. You're getting what you paid for so far with Josh Sweat.
Dave, it looks like to me a lot of folks had questions about Will Johnson. We were all kind of working on the draft last, and we couldn't get a time, and the 40 there's all these questions about it, but man, the tape is showing he's playing very, very well for you guys.
He's a talent. If he stays healthy, the sky's the limit for him. And multiple Pro Bowls, All-Pro, all that is in front of Will Johnson if he's healthy. But that's always been the issue going back to early on in his career in Michigan, all the way through last year. And this year, he's had a groin issue. He popped back up in the injury report this week. That's just something that, for whatever reason, he's dealt with, and it's never the same injury. It's always different injuries for him. But he's very talented, and the Cardinals need him. They lost their top two corners before the season started. Starling Thomas and Sean Murphy Bunting are both out for the year. Those are likely the two starters. Max Melton, second-round pick last year. Will Johnson, second-round pick this year. A lot on the shoulders of those two guys.
Voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash with us here on The Fan. Where are we at in the development of Marvin Harrison Jr.?
He's getting there. He's definitely better than he was last year. And I think what he did last year was obviously overshadowed by two other rookies. And so people are going to focus on what Malik Neighbors did, Brian Thomas did, and compare Marvin Harrison's numbers and say, oh, Harrison had a bad year. He didn't. He had a decent year for a rookie. And I think he's taken some steps forward this year. He's still got a ways to go, but when you have had inconsistency with the run game and the offensive line, it's hard to have a great passing game. But I still think he's going to be a very good NFL receiver for a long time.
And there's no doubt about Trey McBride being the go-to guy offensively, right? It seems like, especially with Brissett. I mean, they are just targeting this dude. What makes him so special?
He does it all. He's great. It's interesting. He played at a small school, won the Mackey Award, played at Colorado State. You never know when you're not playing against great competition. The guys that cover you at Colorado State look and run differently than the guys that cover you in the NFL. And that first year was an adjustment. He did battle that transition phase of college to pro, as a lot of guys do. But, man, he's been outstanding since that rookie year. He has it all, and he's great in space. He's great after the catch. He will get out there and block. He's one of the better tight ends in the country.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster. And then I'm curious about Jonathan Gannon. What's he like to interact with, and just his an evaluation of him as a head coach at this point?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. He's a guy that gets it in terms of how he handles the players. You have to be somebody that can adjust to the talent you have on your roster in terms of what you're doing schematically. He does that. He comes from working with Nick Sirianni, who is very well respected, won a Super Bowl. Not everybody in Philadelphia may agree with that, but you just look at his track record, it's very, very good. And a lot of the guys that have been on that staff are very, very good coaches. Some have gone on to be head coaches, some will. And he thinks like Sirianni in terms of just always being on his toes, very detail-oriented, being able to adjust. Now, he's not calling the defense, but he's a defensive head coach, obviously. And the way he interacts with the players, he's very good with us. He's a real guy. I was a big Cliff fan, too. I really like Cliff, still like Cliff. It just didn't work out for him. But, I think Jonathan Gannon, now there was some talk, or even going into the year, about the hot seat. I don't see that. I didn't see it then. I don't see it now, even at 2-5 with the way things are going. The organization really likes Jonathan Gannon, and they should. He's a really good coach.
Voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash, with us here on The Fan. Dave, we love your work in the world of college football. We'd love to talk a little college football with you here as well. I am curious if you've had some Cincinnati Bearcat fans all up in your mentions with the announcers jinx on that kicker this weekend.
Oh yeah, we set that up. We set that up. I mean, we talked about, you guys know this. You talk about when you see something like that, guys 11 for 11 made 22 straight. Okay, let's make sure we have a graphic ready for when he's out there. Obviously, I got to mention it, and the guy misses it, but. We all know we have nothing to do with that. It just the timing worked out unfavorably for him. But what are you going to do?
It was incredible. It was honestly, Dave. It's one of my all-time favorites because you set it up so beautifully. It's like 11 of 11, 22 straight made. Hasn't missed one since Michigan State 4 years ago. 41 yards, no good. It was like, oh my gosh!
Hey,
it was beautiful television.
I appreciate it. It's a win either way, right? If you set it up and he makes it, okay, looks great. And if you set it up and he misses it, we did our jobs.
Dave, who is the best college team you've seen so far?
The best college team that I saw, had seen until 2 weeks ago was Miami. I did the game at Louisville where they got beat. Now, obviously, they've lost 2 out of 3. It's Ohio State or Indiana, those two. I think Texas A&M and Alabama are still in the mix. It's hard to dismiss what Alabama did against Florida State week 1, especially after watching Florida State the last month, but I still feel like they're as good as anybody. But I would say right now, I would put Indiana 1. I'm not saying they're the best team. Ohio State's probably better, but when the rankings come out tomorrow night, if you tell me the committee has Indiana at 1 and Ohio State at 2 based on the teams they've played so far, and the way Indiana has handled teams, I would not be shocked if the Hoosiers are 1, which is an incredible story. I thought last year was a story.
Yeah.
It's remarkable that it's happened again this year with a different quarterback who might be better.
Yeah, Mendoza's the real deal, man. Cignetti's got that team playing incredible football. It is quite the story. What's the college football environment that you feel like is most synonymous that you've been to that is just like the most rabid, crazy, fun college football experience?
Pretty much everywhere in the SEC. We've got Georgia, Mississippi State this week. You get the Cowbells going there, Starkville. Georgia's a top 5 team. That place will be rocking. I've done games pretty much everywhere in the conference. It's funny because we at ESPN get accused of SEC bias. Well, it's the best teams and the best venues and the best scene, pregame, in-game, post-game in the SEC. Now Utah was great. Obviously, game day was there this week. Being there this past week was awesome. And there are great places in the Big Ten. I used to do Big Ten for a long time when ESPN had it. But there's something special about SEC games, SEC cities, the crowd, especially night games. But like I said, I'll be in Starkville for an 11 a.m. local kick, and that place will be absolutely on fire this weekend.
Yeah, as an LSU alum going to that Mississippi State, those Cowbells will drive you nuts during the game. You sit there and it never stops, Dave. Never stops. Yeah.
It does not.
Yep.
Well, Dave, you're the man. We appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and enjoy the game tonight.
You got it, fellas. Have a good one.
Likewise, there he goes, voice of the Cardinals, Dave Pash with us here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. An hour and 39 minutes to kick off Monday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium. Let's get the scoop from the best in the business. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales joins us next right here on The Fan.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill your house this season with safe...
podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
All right, let's get the scoop from Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales. United Healthcare is the proud official healthcare partner of the Dallas Cowboys, bringing you coverage you can count on to Cowboys territory. Learn more at UHC.com. Just over 90 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Monday Night Football. Let's go onto the turf here and chat it up with Christy. Christy, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well, Eric. Still kind of tight-lipped as to any kind of movements trade-wise, but that's why we have an owner's box interview coming up next hour. So I'm going to start tracking Jerry and Steven here and Will McClay as well.
That's right. Jerry's been talking into microphones about trades being all but done at this point with the trade deadline tomorrow. So looking forward to hearing that interview.
Yeah,
right here.
I can tell you nothing is set yet in terms of like a press conference or anything like that tomorrow. So everyone's on standby.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, as it pertains to tonight, Christy, what do we need to know about who's in and who's out?
Yeah, kind of a surprise inactive. I mean, this is a young man, a rookie who was inactive the first 4 games of the season. And but Jaden Blue, the rookie running back from Texas, I know he's got a lot of Cowboys and Longhorn fans that are hoping that he gets a breakthrough game, but only 3 yards a carry so far in his limited work here. And so Jaden Blue is inactive tonight. It's not anything injury related. That's just coach's decision. Some guys have to sit, and he draws the straw tonight, and that's because the Cowboys did sign Malik Davis off of the practice squad onto the 53-man roster yesterday. So why go with Davis instead of Blue? Well, simply Davis gives you more on teams. With Wanye Thomas inactive the past couple of weeks with the migraine, it was actually Davis who took Thomas's spot as personal protector. The good news is reinforcements are arriving for safety with Wanye Thomas. He is active and will play tonight. We know that Donovan Wilson, the starter, and the backup, the rookie Elijah Clark, who started last week, Clark is down because of the rib injury suffered in the third quarter last week, and Wilson misses another game with the elbow and shoulder injuries. But Wanye is back, and then Zion Childress, speaking of players like Malik who have been elevated from the practice squad. Now, Zion isn't signed to the 53-man roster, but he was elevated from the practice squad yesterday, and he will be available tonight as one of the backup safeties.
Christy, I really do appreciate everything you do for us down there, and the fact you mentioned about the owner's box and the interviews and stuff like that with Jerry or Steven. Do you think, and I hope I don't put you on the spot, do you think that this game tonight could hinge on if a trade is made or not? Or do you feel like the trade has already been done?
I think it's done. I think he wouldn't have said it if he didn't think that there was going to be an announcement tomorrow. The other thing is I was keeping an eye on some of these guys because when you talk about trades, it's like, okay, well, if there's a starter or a key backup that you would trade, and I'm saying a name like a Jalen Tolbert. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
If he were going to be traded, a guy like that would be inactive tonight, okay?
Absolutely,
because you cannot risk them getting injured and blowing up the terms of the trade. So none of those guys like that. And again, when I mentioned Blue being inactive, I'm not saying that he's going to be traded. I don't mean to imply that at all. I think it's simply that Davis gives him a lot more from special teams. And Blue, when he was active earlier, remember that's when Turpin was out, and so you needed Blue for the return game. But now that Turpin is back, you don't really need him for that. You need Davis more for coverage skills. And another guy who's elevated from the practice squad is Princeton Fant, the tight end who's been with the team a few years now, and he'll be one of the key special teams guys tonight. And so I think it just shows you how evenly matched they think this game is with Arizona, and that this is truly one where the third phase, where special teams, the ability to flip the field, is going to be so important tonight, and why they're putting all these resources towards it.
Christy, we got the activation of Cooper Beebe. That seems just natural. Real close last week. Probably could have played, but should get him tonight, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And he was out here early for his pregame warm-ups and all of that, and everything looks good to go. No setbacks there. And it wasn't one of these things where he came out and like worked on the resistance cords or anything like that with Britt Brown. Like sometimes you do, or they'll have a guy come out and there'll be the coaches and trainers gathered around him and just to make sure that they're going to be ready because it's a game day decision. Nothing like that. And BB was able to take the first team snaps this week in practice. So yeah, Cooper Beebe good to go. And it'll be the first time that really the offensive line has been together since week 2 when BB went out with a foot and ankle injury.
And which direction will the Aubrey 70-yard field goal come from?
Yeah, you can't let the kid from Jacksonville.
I was curious if you walked up. Yeah, I was curious if you walked up and said something, and it seemed like a 70-yard field goal at warm-ups.
Actually, I did talk to Brandon before the game, actually way early in warm-ups.
Yeah.
Man, he was out here 3 hours before, but it's because there's a new T-shirt in the pro shop with Brandon Aubrey, and it's smooth as butter, and it's got kind of like a cartoonish caricature, and he's kicking the ball, and as the ball is flying through the air off his foot, there's a pat of butter on the tip of the ball. And so I just said, I want to make sure that you've seen the new one, because they've already had some butter shirts for him. They had them last year. He says, oh yeah, I've seen it, and his wife has already bought as many as she could. So,
well, I've
so
actually
they've already made some sales.
I've actually seen some 17 jerseys out here among the jerseys out here in the plaza.
Oh, they've been available all year long, really, from the middle of last season. So it's actually one of the better sellers there.
It might
at
be
the
one
pro
of the
shop.
safest jerseys you can buy. You know?
For sure.
Yeah, we got to lock him up.
If you think about it overall, just go ahead.
For sure.
Christy Scales with us here on The Fan. Okay, so salute to service night here at AT&T Stadium. What do we have in store for that?
Well, the Cowboys will be wearing the red stripe on their helmet, right? So red, white, and blue stripe, just like 1976. So the past few years, and this is since they've been doing the fundraising for the National Medal of Honor Museum, which is open now. It opened about 8 months ago just down the street in Arlington. Ever since they started the fundraising for that, they've been wearing those red stripes. So this is the 3rd or 4th year that they've had that. The cheerleaders have the red, white, and blue stripe on the back of their white Luke Casey boots. I can't say anything about security, but because of security, but a very important person. Maybe might have been commander-in-chief at one point in the past, is going to help with the coin toss. And we have National Medal of Honor recipients that will be honored today at halftime. Lee Greenwood will be singing God Bless the USA. It's going to be a very special halftime. So for those folks who are making their way into AT&T Stadium or driving out here, please make sure that you stay in your seats at halftime, because it's going to be a very patriotic and very moving halftime ceremony.
Beautiful. I love it. Christy, you're the best. Thanks so much for the time, and we look forward to your conversation with Jerry next hour, or Steven next hour.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Thank you. There she goes. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales here on The Fan. Tonight's game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium is brought to you by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. All right, and if you're making your way out here to the game tonight, of course, make sure you check out the #1 selling item at every Dallas Cowboys game day: Tostitos Ultimate Nachos, thick cut Tostitos tortilla chips, hot nacho cheese sauce, hearty Texas chili, fresh pico de gallo, and of course the beautiful jalapenos. Doesn't get much better than that. Nachos and football, that's what we do here at AT&T Stadium. All right, so we inch closer and closer to kickoff. Looking forward to our conversation with Troy Aikman coming up here in just a few minutes, live from the field turf at AT&T there. We'll have Brad Sham getting in the mix on it, and it'll be a fun conversation. But, man, I saw an article today where you're getting quotes from Marvin Harrison Sr. Okay, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. playing wide receiver, of course, for the Cardinals. And Marvin Harrison, his father, is talking about how he no longer goes to games, and he's basically reluctant to even watch the games on television. He says, quote, "It's very hard for me to watch the Cardinals offense." And he says, you can quote me on that.
Oh, wow.
He says, the style of offense that I'm accustomed to, that I'm used to watching as a professional eye, as a wide receiver, I just can't relate to watching that current offense, that style of offense. Basically, I can't relate to what goes on there. And he says, he didn't name names, but he says, I think that's just peacefully put without pointing
Drew
fingers
Petzik.
or anything. It's just me. I'm giving you the professional eye. I can't relate to it. It don't add up to me. I can't deal with it. So he is literally to the point now where he can barely even watch his own son play football because he's so disgusted with watching Arizona Cardinals football, man. And that's crazy because Drew Petzing has been one of the young hotshot play callers over the last few years. And I know Dave Pash, voice of the Cardinals, was downplaying the Clayton Adams effect, who was doing a lot of the run game coordinating.
Are you surprised about that?
A little bit, yes, I was. I was surprised by that. I mean, it seems pretty obvious. You go from one of the best rushing attacks in the sport for some years with Clayton Adams there, running the show from a run game coordinating standpoint in the offensive line, and now you sort of bottom out after you lose him. He goes to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys' rushing attack has been revitalized.
Yeah.
So it seems like he played a huge part in that. But, yeah, there's Marvin Harrison. I guess he won't be watching tonight.
No. And it's funny about Marvin Harrison. I scouted him and then now his son. I'll tell you what, his dad was a hell of a player there at Syracuse. And then with the Indianapolis Colts, always played Eric on the right side. Never moved. Played right side his whole career.
In college or even in the NFL too?
In the NFL.
Interesting.
Never moved. Stayed on the right side of the formation. Everybody else moved. He was a right side player.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I know that things were more stagnant at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the motion and stuff, but the Cardinals don't even really do a ton of motion.
No.
They're below league average in the motion rate.
And that plays into Dallas's hands because when Dallas deals with motion, the quarterback rating is like a 120 something, and when they don't deal with motion, it's like an 83. So there is a big difference between, and it might have to do with communication. Like when you move,
it screws up. Who you're supposed to be covering and all that kind of stuff.
Dallas, when you move on Dallas, it's a problem for them.
Wow, and the Cardinals don't really do that. That's two things I'm looking for tonight with the Cardinals off their bye week to see if they tweak some things a little bit. Offensively, it would be the motion stuff.
Yeah.
Do you decide to try more of that because the Cowboys defense has struggled with it? And then on the flip side, defensively for the Cardinals, playing so much zone coverage, so much cover 4, where Dak has been lethal this year.
Right.
And especially at home, where versus man coverage, Dak hasn't been near the same level of dominant quarterback. Would they try to mix in a little bit more man coverage tonight? And off a bye week, that maybe gives you a chance to tweak a couple of things?
Well, like we said earlier, you don't get to practice a whole lot. I mean, coaches can kind of sit around and scheme and think about things, but, man, that's – you would like to believe that if you did something like that, that it would pay dividends to you, but coaches don't always do those things.
No, they don't. We'll see if the Cardinals have any tricks up their sleeves tonight here, Monday Night Football, AT&T Stadium. All right, we are under 90 minutes to kick off, and it's a loaded hour with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer, and, of course, more Super Bowl winning analysis from the great Bryan Broaddus. That's all coming up next right here on The Fan.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call. Take 5 makes it as easy as calling the coin toss. Take 5 is the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit take5.com to find a location near you. Offer valid through December 31st, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Valid only at participating locations.
How about them Cowboys? And how about those Hillshire Farm Little Smokies cocktail links to help fuel up for the big game? Hillshire Farm brand is calling you to enjoy our savory, delicious Little Smokies cocktail links for any of your game day occasions. Whether it's a spontaneous snack or a game day gathering, Little Smokies cocktail links are the perfect way to celebrate. Get yours today at your local grocery store. Hillshire Farm is proud to be the official protein of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hillshire Farm is calling.
The National Medal of Honor Museum is now open in Arlington, Texas, just a few blocks from AT&T Stadium. Immersive exhibits and exciting technology allow you to fly a rescue helicopter mission in Vietnam and have conversations with virtual Medal of Honor recipients. Come be inspired by these incredible stories of ordinary Americans who did the extraordinary. Get your tickets at mohmuseum.org.
Hi, it's Pete Thompson from the Consumer Team. Every year, the summer heat puts a real strain on your HVAC system, which means it needs a tune-up before it gets cold and you turn on the heat. Call the on-time expert.
left corner of the end zone. 1 for 1. Caught the ball. Touchdown. Touchdown, Cowboys.
With Brad Shab, Babe Laufenberg, Christy Scales, Eric Chiofalo, and Bryan Broaddus. Brought to you by
AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
Also brought to you by
Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Tyson Foods, get your Tyson Cowboys Star Nuggets available now. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, we are under an hour and 15 minutes to kick off here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team, live at AT&T Stadium, the Miller Lite West Plaza, where the Cowboys fans have infiltrated, and they are ready for a Week 9 Monday Night Football edition versus these Cardinals. No Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback, but you do have Cooper Beebe back for the Dallas Cowboys. Jaden Blue inactive tonight. That was a little bit of a surprise there, but I'm excited to break this one down. Troy Aikman will be on the call for ESPN tonight, and he will be joining us here in the next few minutes. But right now, let's go ahead and preview this bad boy, brought to you by SeatGeek as well as Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Eric Chiofalo alongside the Super Bowl champion Bryan Broaddus. Broaddus, let's take a look at these Cardinals, man. Brissett in for Murray. How does this Cardinals offense look?
Well, it doesn't have the element of the scramble or the big play from scramble. What you get is a more consistent passer, and you get a passer that's going to spread the ball around more. When you get Kyler Murray, he kind of locks in on one player, and that would be Marvin Harrison. But when you look at how Jacoby Brissett will play, he's going to try and get the ball to all his guys, whether it's the Michael Wilson or Zay Jones or Trey McBride, the very talented tight end. So it's a little bit of a different offense because of just that element of not having that big play scramble ability.
Right. Yeah, they go under center much more with Brissett. The play-action passing game, even though they don't run the ball that well, they will utilize that play-action game. You mentioned Trey McBride. He's the guy that I'm circling that I am most fearful of. We've seen random dudes torch the Cowboys, so it could be anybody on this Cardinals offense that gets theirs tonight. But how do you approach trying to slow down Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends in the league?
Well, the Cowboys have really struggled with, we mentioned it earlier, with teams that have motion in their offense, and Arizona really doesn't motion. And so now the communication should be better, more stable with who they need to cover. Trey McBride plays a lot in the slot, and so you're going to have to find a way, whether that is, Babe Laufenberg was talking about, he and I having this discussion, is it a linebacker, is it a safety? Me personally, I would try and mix some coverage up with him. I would maybe take, on some third downs, take Bland and put him on him, and then let him try and take some of that away, especially if Jacoby Brissett, like I said, he'll try and play it around, but he knows on third down that he's got a guy. You get Jacoby Brissett in that 3rd to 5 to 9 range and put pressure on him, he is a totally different quarterback in a bad way for them. So anything to take away one of his best targets, I think you need to do.
Bam Knight going to be toting the rock for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know much about this guy. He's their 3rd-string running back, down James Conner, down Trey Benson. What do we need to know about this rushing attack?
Yeah, it just really has not been that good. There's elements that they've tried to, from Clayton Adams, they're still trying to have the down blocks, the pull blocks, play in space. They just really haven't been very consistent. They've struggled at left guard. They haven't been completely healthy there. They've struggled some. Their most athletic player is their center. When they run the football and he's uncovered, you will see Foholt. You'll see him pull. You'll see him get in space. Like, they will try and get the ball to the outside, get the ball to the edge. They do a lot of that pulling and pinning what we've seen from Arizona in the past. They just have not been as consistent as when Clayton Adams has been there before.
Now, the Cowboys struggle to get pressure. We know that. Is there anybody on this offensive line they should be trying to pick on when it comes to the pass rush?
Yeah, to me, it's Jonah Williams, the former first-round pick from Alabama that went to the Cincinnati Bengals, now here at Arizona. He's the right tackle. Keep an eye on him. Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers wore him out in that game. So I would like to see somebody, if they can move, whether that's Houston, Ezeraku, somebody over that side. Now, what Arizona will do is they will try and get in some heavy formations. They'll get in with Jacoby Brissett. They'll play 13 personnel, with the one back and the multiple tight ends. So they're not afraid of that, and they're not afraid to also play with an extra offensive lineman. We saw that a little bit last week with the Denver Broncos, that if they want to get in certain type of play calls, they will go with a extra offensive lineman. So all night tonight, you're going to probably hearing guys reporting eligible in this football game.
All right, now let's go ahead and flip it. Let's look at this Cardinals defense here a little bit. We mentioned Cooper Beebe back offensively for the Cowboys, but what are we seeing from this Cardinals defense?
Yeah, it is going to get. We talk about that cover 4 look, and you've mentioned it. And Dak Prescott has been really good when you play with the 2 corners, 2 safeties, and it's really everybody just taking quarters of the field. You get linebackers, you get a Mike linebacker, middle linebacker that's got the middle, and then the other linebackers have flat. So there's some gaps in between, like in the intermediate areas, to hit some of these plays because of the coverage. They don't want anything to get behind them. They're not going to give up a bunch of deep balls. We've seen the Cowboys have some times where they've been able to complete deep passes, especially with George Pickens. So, we'll see. Will Johnson, I don't think Will Johnson runs particularly great, but I think he's a good player. I would challenge him on some vertical stuff. They'll try and help him with the safety over the top out of that cover 2 look.
Okay, so they're playing a lot of zone, playing a lot of quarters. Dak's been great against that. Of course, you have Pickens and Lamb. Ferguson, we'll see if he can get back going. Do you like his opportunities tonight, Ferguson, after getting shut out last week?
Yeah, a lot depends on they've got some guys. Their middle linebacker, when you look at how they play, they've got some guys like this Mac Wilson, who plays more as a will linebacker. He's a good cover guy. When you watch him, he's got 4 or 5 passes defensed. So their linebackers are accustomed to playing some pass rush. So we saw last week, Denver took away Fergie by playing a cornerback. If you remember, Jahdae Barron played against him last week, and that was kind of a problem. He had a hard time getting away from Jahdae Barron. Jahdae Barron could play corner and he could play safety. So Arizona might try and do something like that. Let's see if they do it with Budda Baker, maybe playing some coverage on him that way, or Jalen Thompson, who's the nickel back.
How about the pass rush for the Cardinals? I see they're like 28th in sack rate. Josh Sweat seems like the only guy that can really get after the quarterback. Is that right?
Well, Dave Pash was talking about it, how he's kind of good and early in the game and then gets wore down as the game wears on. So, yeah, it's going to be really about Josh Sweat, and then it's also going to be about Baron Browning, who they got in a trade from the Denver Broncos. So those are really their 2 primary edge guys. This team rolls a lot of personnel through. I mean, they have guys, like I think they have 14 guys that have played 130 defensive snaps.
Oh, wow.
On their line. So, yeah, it's a group that they try and roll in and out of.
Man, that Calais Campbell's still a marvel. Dang near 40 years old, still getting it done.
Yep.
Heck of a run defender. How is their run defense?
Well, the run defense is it's been good to the point where, and I mentioned it with Dave, it's 4.2 a carry. Teams have not had a great success rate, a little over 41 yards success rate. There's a lot of teams they're in that, when you talk about 4+ yards a carry, they're one of the better teams in the league that not in allowing those. They don't allow big plays. They don't allow big runs. So the challenge is going to be, can Dallas create some opportunities for Williams attacking? They haven't. It's about 2.7 yards a carry on the inside part of the game, or the inside part of their defense. and a little bit more on the outside, but not to the point where we've seen outside runs have success like the last couple of weeks.
So we've seen the Cowboys just light it up here, especially at AT&T Stadium. They put up 40 points a game here this season. They've been lights out. Do you think this will be a little bit more of a struggle versus this Cardinals defense?
I think so. I just don't think that Arizona, they have the kind of personnel that they don't want to give up the big play. They're in like most of the games they play. And so I just kind of feel like that Dallas, there's going to be some of those times they're probably going to be banging their head against the wall a little bit. Maybe a couple more 3-and-outs. Can't get frustrated. Got to stay after it because they're going to need some points tonight. I kind of feel like they could get the 4 touchdowns to get to 28. I think that with Jacoby Brissett, you have to be a little bit worried. If they don't get pressure, Jacoby Brissett can make this thing a shootout type of a game. But I think defensively, Arizona probably a little bit better equipped to handle a game like this than, say, the Cowboys defense.
Okay, so a couple of things that took place today. You have the NFL trade deadline tomorrow. Jerry Jones talking with Stephen A. Smith, SiriusXM Radio, talking about how they already got a deal done, and it'll be announced tomorrow.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of other deals in the works here. Of course, we're looking at the defensive side of the ball. Do you think tonight's game hinges on anything? Like, do they need to win tonight to pull the trigger on some of these trades? Or?
I don't think so. I think that they're in that mode right now where if you're going to trade, you're going to trade. I think that's where we are right now.
Okay, all right, we'll get back into that trade conversation a little bit later, but right now it's time to throw it into AT&T Stadium. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with Cowboys Hall of Famer Troy Aikman.
All right, fellas, thanks very much. Troy Aikman, I read in the paper today, is on this television job for 25 years. Brad Townsend wrote a nice piece. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, yeah.
Do you think you're close to getting the hang of it?
I'm not sure, quite honestly. I still get the butterflies, as I'm sure you do as well. It's all part of it. As you know, Brad, I never imagined that I would be doing this 25 years. I thought it was going to be a little moonlight gig for a couple of years and I'd be on to something else, but it's been a lot of fun.
You've been very kind and complimentary of Dak Prescott through the years. Seems to be playing very well as you watch tape. What do you see from him?
Yeah, I think he's playing his best football. And the biggest reason is I just feel, one, he's being really decisive. He's being accurate with the football. He's doing a lot of good things. But I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is the confidence in which he's playing. And what I see is someone who's 100% on the same page with the play caller. And having been there as a quarterback, it's amazing how confident you can go out and play when you really trust the people that are calling the plays and they're putting you in favorable positions. And then, of course, he's got good players around him as well. But, you know, he's in his 10th year, and so he's played great and for a lot of years, but I do think this is the best he's played.
So as you all right, we'll share a mic. As you put the tape on and looked at it this week, as you prepared to do that, were you more looking forward to watching the offense or like scared to death to look at the defense?
I was more interested in watching the defense because I knew what the offense had been doing, and I can see that really for the most part even on television, and I was just curious as to how can this defense be struggling the way that they are, and I understand it. I mean, when you're not playing well, everybody gets in the crosshairs, and Matt Eberflus has certainly been criticized, but he's a good defensive coordinator. He's proven that over the years, and I think that the frustrating thing, I think, for him and for the organization in general is that he's called things to keep from giving up certain plays, and yet they've given up those exact plays. So it hasn't been from lack of calling the right scheme. It's just been really more than anything a lack of execution.
So in your conversations with whoever you've talked to and your observations, has it looked at all to you like they're trying to put square pegs in round holes?
I think there is an element of because it is his first year, trying to get the right people that fit all that. I think that is legitimate, but I also think it's fair, and even though injuries are a part of this game and everybody's dealing with them, they've certainly had their share, that they're trying to patch things up against, you know, some good opponents. And last week on the road against Denver certainly was one of those. But yeah, it's something that'll have to be addressed not only in the offseason, but they've got to it's starting tonight. I think we're going to see some things that look a little bit different from what we've seen up to this point, and we'll see whether or not it's more effective.
So much to the chagrin of many people who work for him, Jerry's already said publicly that he's made a trade. Just can't say who, what, or where. A lot of people wish that he hadn't done that. Probably there will be some things tomorrow. What kind of an effect can that have?
I withhold some opinion on that because I don't know who we're talking about or what it might be. But, this defense, I was just asked on the ESPN countdown, can one player come in and really make that big of a difference defensively? And Micah Parsons could help this defense. Would it change their 3-4-1 record? That's debatable. But the Micah Parsons just aren't available to trade for. So I can't imagine that one guy's going to come in and make that big of an impact that changes the trajectory to the extent in which they hope for on the defensive side of the ball.
The Cardinals, on the other hand, the quarterback thing is fascinating because a lot of people who don't really know tend to look at it and say, oh, number one's not playing, that's a piece of cake. It's not a piece of cake. Tell us what you think of Jacoby Brissett.
Well, I like him. I always have. I like his game, probably because it does remind me a little bit of the way in which I had to play. I mean, he has always been a pocket passer. He likes being under center. He likes the play-action game. And quite honestly, that's what Drew Petzing, their offensive coordinator, that's his background. It's his background with Stefanski and Norv Turner over the years in Cleveland and Minnesota. And so he's been able to execute an offense that they really ideally would like to run. Now, they've had some injuries on the offensive side of the ball. They're not running the ball, as you know, as well as they have the last couple of years. But I do think that Jacoby gives them an opportunity to do some things in the passing game with the play-action game that we hadn't seen, and they had been more productive. Now, with that said, Kyler Murray coming back to his home state, the success he's had here in this building, I think that would have really given this team a lift. And he's 8-0 here at AT&T Stadium, so anybody's guess. I've seen him play here, and it's pretty electrifying when he's on this field.
How often do you and Joe feel like we got to sell this game? It's not selling itself.
Not often. Maybe our first year at ESPN we did. We've had some really good games. I think we're going to get a good game tonight. I mean, most of our games, last week's didn't, but most of our games have gone down to the wire, and I think we're going to get a better game probably than what a lot of people think, and probably a better game than what Cowboys fans are hoping for.
And how do you mean that?
Well, I think Arizona, their backs are against the wall. They've lost 5 straight. They're coming off a bye. I don't think this is – none of them are easy, as you know. But I think there's a lot of people that feel Dallas coming off a tough loss. They're going to come out tonight. They're going to put 40 points on the board, and Arizona can't come close to that. I just think it'll be a tighter game. Of course, a lot of that's wishful thinking, Brad. I mean, you know that. As a broadcaster, we're always hoping for good games.
Just give me a good game.
That's right.
Who's the best team you've seen?
Oh, my gosh. Seattle. Seattle's the best team I've seen right now. I was watching Sam Darnold tape earlier today just because I wanted to see how he was doing. He had a great year last year for Minnesota. He looks like a different quarterback. Even off of last year, he's playing as good as any quarterback I've ever seen. And defensively, they're really good, too. I think right now they're the best team in football.
Thank you for the time. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Brad.
Right. Take care. There's Troy Aikman. Fellas, back to you.
Beautiful. There it is, the Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, an absolute legend, Troy Aikman, with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. And how about that, man? He thinks, tonight, just like what you were saying, tonight's going to be a pretty interesting game.
I just feel like, though, there's so much unknown, really, about the way that, what Dallas defense is going to show up. The one that played very well against the Commanders, or the one that struggled last week against Denver. Maybe the home field makes a big difference here. Maybe it helps with communication. They've just got to be better. They've got to be better on defense, but we just don't know which one's going to show up. We think the offense will show up. We just don't know about the defense. I think that's what will make this game interesting. I think Arizona's defense actually is not bad. I think Troy, watching the tape, you could see that they're not a bad defense. Maybe the metrics will tell you they're bad, but they're in a lot of football games. Just haven't finished very well.
Right. Finishing games. I mean, they're on a 5-game losing streak or whatever it is, and it's been by a total of like 13 points. So they're not getting crushed. They just they can't find ways to win late in games. Back to the trade deadline stuff. Just want to close this down. Jordan Schultz, NFL Insider, says that his understanding is the Cowboys have spoken to the Bengals on Trey Hendrickson and their linebacker Logan Wilson, and to the Dolphins about the edge rusher Bradley Chubb. They've had talks with other teams as well, and a source said, quote, at least one deal is getting done somewhere.
Yeah,
so,
I think that Chubb, Wilson, guys like that, I think those are two pretty solid names for you.
All right, we are 55 minutes to kickoff here at AT&T Stadium. Monday Night Football with the Cowboys and Cardinals. Let's get you the Coach's Corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with Cowboys head coach Bryan Schottenheimer. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer. The originator.
your Dallas Cowboys.
Reliant, PUCT number 10007.
Here we go. We're 49 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Great to have you in the official pregame show of America's team, live on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. It's time for tonight's Coach's Corner. Voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, standing by with Cowboys head coach Bryan Schottenheimer.
Thanks very much, fellas. Monday Night Football, first of 2 Monday night games in a row. Thank goodness there's a bye in between. You like Monday night? Feel any different on Monday night?
You know, I think I grew up watching Monday Night Football. I was the kid that would the TV on in my room and put it under the pillow, and I'd watch the Monday night game. And man, that music, you know, dun, 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 dun. I mean, to this day it gets me excited. So I think you love playing in front of the nation, and it should be a fun, festive event tonight.
You know, players play on, especially on this team, that play in so many primetime games. But everybody likes being in front of the only viewers. Do you think players still get cranked up for that?
I think so. I think you'd be crazy to think, get fired up. In my mantra of, hey, it's just another championship opportunity. We have to guard against that, not trying too hard tonight. It's been a good week of prep, and again, I'm excited to see how our guys go out there against a really, really good Arizona football team. Don't let their record fool you.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Everything they've done in this 5-game losing streak has been by 4 points or less in terms of the losses. What is that, as you've looked at their tape, what does that tell you?
Yeah, again, I think they're a very talented team. I think they've played some good football teams, and again, it comes down in this league to the ability to finish. And you know, we've been on the wrong end of a few of those things, and we found a way to finish a few of our games. And I think they're a little bit like us. You're learning to win. And part of learning to win requires winning. And so, hopefully, if and when, which it should be a close game tonight, we make enough plays to come out on top.
We have just enough time to pull the camera back a little bit and do a little macro looking. When you are trying to both run the offense, call the plays, but during the week be the head coach, go across the hall and help the defense too. People hear that. I'm not sure they understand exactly what it means. What does it do for you in this past week?
Well, I think, look, the main responsibility of the head coach is that you are in charge of the whole football team. You have to have your hands in everything, and it doesn't mean I don't trust anything we're doing on defense, but we have not played to the standard that we need to play to, and so my job is to go in there and, again, I go in there and I ask very direct questions, and I explain why I would attack people a certain way, and when I see their film, here's what I would do, and they have great points and dialogue off of it, and certainly it doesn't keep me from being the play caller. I still spend time in with the offensive guys. I don't miss a quarterback meeting. I'm in there all the time with Dak and the QBs. But, look, we've got a tremendous staff, and when I'm in the defensive room, I have complete confidence in guys like Clayton Adams and Steve Shimko, Ken Dorsey. It's a great staff over there. And so, but again, you have to go where you're needed, and right now I'm a little bit more needed on the defensive side of the ball.
You even mentioned it late in the week, last week, but there are some things, big picture things, that you will have the luxury of attending to in a little different way in the coming week with the bye. But you just can't. It's like making halftime adjustments. If you got to adjust, you better not wait till halftime, right?
No.
So you have to do some of that on the fly. You can't change all your players. It's just not possible. So how do you figure out which ones you're not using in the best way to call on their skill set to meet how you want to play?
Well, I think that's the magic answer right there. Is we certainly don't need to change all of our players. We're not going to do that. We have good players. We have to coach our players better. We have to get our players to understand and execute the scheme better. And there's certainly some things that we're going to be doing tonight and moving forward that features maybe a little bit more of our depth at certain positions and things like that give us the best chance to win and be successful. But you're always adjusting. You're always changing. And, again, we have a talented roster. We need to play with more consistency.
When you are in a situation like you've been in, now we're halfway through the year. It's not an anomaly anymore. I'm sure you do, but do you and how do you, not just you, but as a staff, look at even down to the practice squad and the guys who have not been playing. And, okay, which one of these guys maybe could do something that we didn't think they could do, but we watch them in practice differently? How much of that goes on?
No, we're evaluating everything, and that's, I think, what I love about this coaching staff as a whole is, we look at not just the full-speed practice reps. We watch the fundamental individual periods. We watch the one-on-one stuff that we'll do and the combination drills that we do, looking for signs of, hey, this guy has earned the opportunity to play more, and I think you'll see some of that tonight, guys that have earned the opportunity to play a little bit more. This is a production-based business, and everything's being evaluated, and there'll be some movement on the roster based on guys that have been performing at a high level, more so than punishing guys that aren't playing well. It's more, hey, if you earn the opportunity to go play and you compete the right way, hey, here you go. Let's see how you do.
Let's go back to the offense for a moment. Cooper Beebe is back. Everybody loves the way Brock Hoffman plays. But if he was better than Cooper, he'd have been starting from the beginning. What is BB going to give you?
Well, again, last week BB was almost back, and Brock's done an incredible job holding down the fort. I mean, look, we all remember a few weeks ago it was like we were down 4 linemen and we're going into New York or wherever we were, and you're like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But again, just the glue of that whole thing was Brock, and I can't thank him enough for that. But Cooper's obviously a second-year player. He's got great command of what we're trying to do, and again, they're kind of used to hearing his voice. He was the guy you really all through last year, through training camp, that they were hearing, and our communication needs to be better, and I think it starts with Cooper Beebe driving things, and but it's not just that. They got to share the information down the line, but happy to have a player like Cooper back.
It's always important, but how much more important against this defense, and given against the Cardinals defense and against the backdrop of the state of your defense, how much more important is being able to control the ball with the running game tonight?
Oh, huge. I think, we're at our best, Brad, when we run the football well, and that wise, because our play passes feed off of that. And really, you look at the games we've played poorly, and we have not been able to run the football. And I think that's a huge part of it. It usually doesn't come out. Most teams don't come out and rush for 10, 12 yards a carry in the first half, so you have to stick to it, and that falls on me and the staff. And but again, we want to own the line of scrimmage, and this is a very multiple defense in Arizona. They do a lot of different things from one personnel grouping. They present a lot of different fronts, which is going to tax our communication and make it even more important than maybe it normally is.
They're a little different. Jacoby Brissett, you talked about your affection for him, but he's just a different quarterback than Kyler Murray. Or maybe we should say Kyler Murray's a different quarterback than everybody else. If Murray's able to play, how does that change what you do?
Well, it certainly changes their run game a little bit. They're going to play more out of the gun with Kyler. They've been playing a little bit more from under center with Jacoby, which is smart. They're featuring each guy's strong points. But, hey, look, anytime you have a dangerous athlete like Kyler Murray playing quarterback, it just makes the run-pass dimension even more dangerous. And, we want to affect the quarterback. That's when we've been at our best, going, again, back to the Jets game in Washington. We were affecting the quarterback. We were hitting the quarterback. This is a guy that's hard to sack. And if you don't have great rush lane discipline, he's got the speed to hurt you. He likes to escape out the back door of the pocket. But he challenges you not only during the play, but after the 2.3 when the ball should normally be gone, and we'll have to do a great job of rallying around and keeping him contained.
Which gets me to the last question. I think you said in your Friday morning radio appearance that you need to do a better job of affecting the quarterback. I think your words were, if we don't affect the quarterback, guess what? We're not very good. That's true of a lot of teams, most teams. But are there, can you give us a name of a player or two who you think might be ready to step up and do that in a different way tonight?
Yeah, I do think that, again, Donovan Ezaraku is a young player that, again, I'm so excited about his future and what he brings. Jadeveon Clowney felt like the old Jadeveon Clowney last game. But, again, I think a guy to watch tonight is a tremendous player, and he's definitely impacted games, but not at the level that is expected. And I think Osa is going to play great tonight. And, again, really a great week of practice. And I would see him affecting and impacting this game from the internal standpoint of the pocket.
Happy Monday night.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, fellas, back to you.
Thank you, Brad Sham. Tonight's Coach's Corner brought to you by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. What a welcome sight that would be to see Osa have himself a monster night tonight, because hasn't quite been the same since getting the bag, and I think the Micah departure probably hurt him more than anyone, because he's seeing more double teams now.
Yeah, it has affected him, and you mentioned about the double teams and stuff, and that's what teams have kind of done. They've doubled him and they've single blocked your one techniques, and because you haven't seen. There's been times where Kenny Clark has been good, and then other times where he's been blocked, and I think you could say that about all of these defensive linemen. I really like what Coach said though about Donovan Ezaraku. Though I do feel this is going to be one of those games where me and Wolchuk are going to be doing post game, and we're going to talk about potential player of the game, and it might be Donovan Ezaraku.
I love the sound of that. All right, we're under 40 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go inside the owner's box and hear from Jerry Jones. That's coming up next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at 10.
podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
33 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones had some interesting things to say about the trade deadline and your Dallas Cowboys. And now it's time to go into the owner's box. Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales standing by with the man himself, Jerry Jones.
Guys, thank you. It's the perfect time to talk to Jerry Jones because we're at trade deadline. And Jerry, I know you spoke with Stephen A. earlier today on ESPN Radio, now on Cowboys Radio. Can you tell us what's lined up, something coming down the pike?
Well, we are possibly will be doing trades. I think we're pretty assured that we have a trade, but we don't have anything that we can talk about until tomorrow, since that's when you do the trade.
So at least one could there possibly be more than one, and would tonight's outcome affect maybe more than one trade?
Tonight's outcome, no. But it's possible that we could make trades for more than one player, yes.
I know that you and Steven, and the mantra is, player acquisition is 365 days a year. But is it fair to assume that there has been more trade activity, more calls to and from your office this year, or is it about normal?
No, I don't think so. But what is real, the reason I'm being so coy is because we're still in competition with 31 other clubs, and those phones are going back and forth, and we're the only ones still playing, us and Cardinals. So a lot of clubs are getting just to zero in on that aspect for in the morning, but that's neither here nor there. But that's one of the reasons why we want to be so QT about what we're doing.
In mentioning the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, the Texas legend, is inactive tonight because of the foot injury. I'm asking you, as someone who enjoys the entertainment aspect of the NFL, are you disappointed that he's not playing today, or is it more like wipe of the brow of, okay, because he's so dangerous running the ball?
I have such respect. I'm talking over you, and that's no, I apologize. But I have such respect for Kyler and his great record of victories here. I don't know of anybody in the NFL that could respect him any more than I do. And so all I want to do, let me just say this, I just want to win this game tonight.
Speaking of respect, I know you're waiting to talk to the National Medal of Honor recipients who are here tonight. Our salute to service. I know this is one of your favorite evenings.
Well, I have just spoken to them, and we had 11 Medal of Honor recipients here. What was so fabulous was that I was over talking about our NHL special hockey game that we're going to have here in 27. And as we were talking on ESPN, it showed the National Medal of Honor Museum and started talking about what those Medal of Honors wanted to do. And they wanted to make all of America, not just everybody that comes visits the museum, aware of the story of the sacrifices that have been made for this country. Our visibility, having it here, whereas thousands will come through the museum, tonight I would hope 25 million people would see the National Medal of Honor Museum and the stories behind it.
We appreciate it so much, Jerry. Thanks so much. And yes, he mentioned the announcement earlier this evening about the Stadium Series coming here. Dallas Stars will be here for a game in February of 2027 here inside AT&T Stadium. So a lot going on as we continue counting down to Cardinals and Cowboys here on Monday night. Let's turn things back over to Bryan and Eric.
Thank you, Christy. Tonight's View from the Owner's Box brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Now it's time for the Bryan Broaddus Zebra Report, brought to you by Arrow Exterminators, the official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Broaddus, what do we have in store?
Yeah, tonight you're going to have Adrian Hill and his crew. This will be their 8th game that they officiated, and so they're still, with all the games that have happened, they're still in the top 3 for the number of penalties being called this year. So get ready for one of those games. What's really unique, though, is the home team has been more calls against the home team than against the visitors in the 7 games that Adrian Hill and his crew have worked. So the penalties you need to be worried about, of course, the offensive holding. Now, here's where it is, Eric. Of the 26 penalties that they've had offensive holding, 19 against the homes, 7 against the aways.
Okay.
So
watch out, Steele and Guyton.
Watch out for sure. Defensive pass interference is a big one for these guys. Here's another crew. 7 games, 9 delay of game penalties. So
clock watchers
for sure. But that's gone 6 against the aways, 3 against the homes. Illegal contact would be big. Face masking and illegal formation would be another one here. You've also got them with the defensive holding and then offensive pass interference. So you kind of run the gambit of all the different calls that are made, but the ones you got to worry about, I think, is that offensive holding and how it's really swung towards the home team.
All right, there it is, the Bryan Broaddus Zebra Report as we get you set for Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Cardinals. We are now under 30 minutes to kick off. Let's go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Miller Lite, the legendary light beer. The originator, the inventor. If this beer could talk, it'd tell stories about that one time.
blockchain.com/cowboys today to get started and learn more. That's blockchain.com/cowboys.
All right, we're 21 minutes to kickoff here at AT&T Stadium. It's time to go inside the booth and chat with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Brad, how we doing?
Doing well. How are you doing, Eric?
Fantastic. Excited for this game. How was it seeing your boy Troy, man? It's just
always
love seeing
him. I don't get invited to the beer fests that Laufenberg and Garrett go to. So anytime I text with him every now and then, but always good to see him. I said I'd see him in 2 weeks.
I love it. Well,
Eric, can I just say one thing quickly, and I don't want to cut into Brad's time?
Hi, Babe.
It's called a quarterback meeting.
Yeah,
that's right.
We call quarterback meetings.
Yeah, I call it a beer fest. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I love it. There's a little cameo from Babe Laufenberg. Brad, well, I heard Shotty mentioning Osa and Donovan Ezeraku. It seems like Ezeraku's been coming on as of late.
Yeah, the Osa thing, Eric, really surprised me because the question was who might, step forward tonight that we could look for, which, by the way, was a question that Mike McCarthy would never let me ask him.
Never.
So thank you to Bryan Schottenheimer for being open to that kind of thing. And he said, Ezeraku's been coming on. He's doing real well, and I think we're going to be seeing more and more of Clowney. But he said, the guy I think tonight we might be able to do something with is Osa. He's practiced well. So that's unusual for a coach to say, and especially to name a defensive tackle. And I think that one thing they might do, Eric, is they might play a little five-man line from time to time to try to get some, because if anybody watches the tape, and I heard Bryan say that they wanted to get somebody on Jonah Williams. But for me, in fact, I said to Schottenheimer when we finished recording that, I said, can you just find a way to get Osa singled up on Will Hernandez? Because Hernandez, when you watch the tape, he's really slow. He's powerful. Yeah. He's big and strong, but he's really slow. And so that's why I think some little chicanery might come into play with the formations they play.
I'm always here for some Monday Night Football chicanery here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. What about the idea of Bryan Schottenheimer being a little bit more aggressive on fourth downs, Brad?
Because he doesn't trust the defense?
Yeah.
You mean? I mean, he's pretty aggressive. You're asking the wrong guy, because I still wince sometimes when they don't kick or when they don't punt, and because that's kind of, I'm slow to come to the idea. One of the things that I learned as I was learning the game was any series that ends in a kick is good. And my broadcast partner has been one who has reinforced that to me for as long as we've been together. Now, I don't blame him if he doesn't trust the defense. I really don't. But I think you kind of got to maybe wait and see before we make a broad proclamation of how they would play the game tonight. Let's see how they play. They gave us something. Was it the Washington game, Eric, where they played so much better than they had been playing?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that tonight. Who knows? But let's find out. And then if they give you a reason again not to trust them, then what the heck? Don't punt. Just go for everything.
I love it. Brad Sham, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the time, Brad. Enjoy the game.
Okay, boys. Have a good night.
All right, there he goes, voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves along the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
All right, it's time to get the keys to the game from Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales, brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Christy, what's the plan in the back end tonight for the Cowboys defense?
Well, I think you're going to see more of Deron Bland back in his more natural spot and where the team thinks he's a little better, and that's playing on the outside. Of course, he's been playing inside quite a bit, but look for him to play outside more and see Reddy Stewart back in the slot as it was earlier in the season. So the other thing is you've got a couple of big absences At safety, good to have Wanye Thomas back as one of the starters along with Marquise Bell. Wanye had missed the previous 2 games with a migraine, and Reddy Stewart actually had to enter the game last week, the cornerback, as a backup safety. But look for him in the slot, and Duran playing more outside today. And guys, what a really bad mismatch is today is the Cowboys' third down defense, worst in the league by a lot, allowing over 52% conversions. The Cardinals' offense is one of the best in the league. They convert 45% of theirs. How do you improve your third down defense? Win on first down, and that's what this team is not doing. This is an astonishing stat to me. The Cowboys are allowing on average over 6.5 yards on first down. So it's making it easy for these offenses, the opponents, for second and third down. So you want to get them off the field, as Brad said a moment ago. Any good series is when you have them kick the ball. That's how you can do it, and you have to limit the big plays. The Cowboys have given up through 8 games 63 big plays. That's 28 big pass plays of 20-plus yards, 35 big run plays of 10-plus yards, 63 plays, guys. That's like an average for a whole game for an NFL team. So limit the big plays, win on first down, and that'll limit those third down conversions. That's the key on defense tonight, guys.
I love it, Christy. Thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the game. We'll be listening.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
There she goes, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales, and now it's prediction time.
Dallas 28, Arizona 24.
There it is. Give me Cowboys win 36-30. Monday Night Football here at AT&T Stadium. Kickoff is around the corner with Brad, Babe, and Christy. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Okay, quiz fans, what's one word to describe Whataburger's new Prickly Pear Raspberry Whata-Fresher? Is the best word refreshing? Or does the real raspberry make you say tangy? Or perhaps the sweet prickly pear fruit is simply delicious? Actually, the only word to describe it is quenchy, tangy, sweet, delicious. And that may sound like